Calling the October 10th, 2024 Planning Board work session to order. In the absence of the secretary, I'll call the roll. Chair LaFaro is here. Vice Chair
Present.
Dennis. Secretary Gloria Burke is absent. Board Member George Mutu.
Present.
Board Member Tom Neely.
Present.
Board Member Kate Fulham.
Present.
We have a quorum. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to close the afternoon session and go into a work session. Oh, there were no minutes, by the way. There are no minutes to approve.
Hi, good afternoon. So, the planning board had approved.
Let me just call the title of it.
Sorry.
This is 31, the bridge, site plan, site disturbance. And can we have your names to the record, please?
Jake Watkins with Roger Ferris and Partners Architects.
Jake Watkins.
Richard Wasowski with the Rayner Group.
Richard. Okay. Now, Teresa, you want to give us a little bit of a
Sorry
overview?
about that.
It's okay.
Very eager today. So we had approved a site plan on this application. It's located in the Bridgehampton Road Races subdivision, and as you know, all of the residential lots in the subdivision require site plan due to slopes and aquifer protection overlay district. Previously, you had done a subdivision amendment to eliminate the cul-de-sac that had been here and required common access with this property, and then you did separately the site plan for the clearing and grade modifications. This is the plan that was approved. I kind of outlined what was the existing contours at the time, and then these were the contours that you allowed for modification. When we went out, or rather when the town engineer went out there, he determined that there was a lot of changes that had been made, and he and I also went out and did the site plan. We overlaid the two on top of each other. The red was what was pre-existing, the green is the blue was what was permitted, and then you can see in gray what is currently at the site. There have been some grade modifications, because there have been a lot of grade modifications, and because it's gonna need to get an amended site plan and a site disturbance application. And we needed to figure out how best to restore the slopes to the maximum extent practicable. I asked the architect's office and the engineering's office to provide us with some options on how to proceed to try and restore those grades. I have 4 copies of the plans they submitted with potential changes to try and maximize the restoration activities. And so we just wanted to come before you so that we could figure out the best course of action, what you guys want to see in order to restore the area.
So the green, the green lines just to tell us what's been disturbed?
The green lines tell us what has been disturbed.
Okay,
correct.
got it.
And this is an APOD, and they have gone beyond the allowable.
So I was going to ask you, so have they overcleared on,
Yes.
on the property?
Correct.
By how much?
I don't have the exact calculations in front of me.
You can look up there.
They were allowed
35%.
There you go. 35%.
That's what a lot is.
So, as you can see, it's over 35%, not counting the area that had been the asphalt cul-de-sac, which was revegetated and restored separately. But this action, they had come in for a site plan that showed that they were conforming, and unfortunately, changes were made that weren't caught, and now we're here trying to fix it.
Okay, so Mr. Watkins, do you want
Yeah.
to speak to that?
Sure, I can, this is a little bit more example showing the changes. To help walk through, sorry.
Okay.
First page is just simply the lot location in relationship to Millstone Road. Second page shows the two different footprints of the house. We went up for building. The code department has approved these plans. The pink being what was originally approved, the blue being what is currently built, and the difference. Essentially, what happened was the house shrunk, and the coverage of the house was taken back.
And the pool
And the second change is the red is showing the original location of the pool. The blue is showing the new location of the pool, or where it's currently built. And the next page after that shows the relationship of the current existing pool and where it was approved. The pink being where it was approved, and blue where it's built right now. This is the main reason why the grades were changed, because the pool is essentially moved further east on the site. And that was again permitted with the permit for that, with the building permit. The next sort of change is the driveway was shifted slightly. Pink being where the driveway was approved, and blue being where it's currently placed now. And the overlay showing that slight shift. Some places of the driveway are moved further south on some areas, and some that's pushed further north on the site. So this is just an overlay of how and why the grades were kind of shifted. The last page is the same diagram that Teresa just gave, showing how the contour shifted a little bit, and the green contour showing the current as-built conditions surveyed by Rayner Group, the black being the approved conditions, so most of the black remaining as is, and the light gray dotted line showing where the approved conditions were moved to the green currently as-built conditions. Just trying to make it.
Any reason why it all happened?
When the house shifted and the pool moved, the contours moved.
So the site plan was approved and the building department approved their
Yes.
permit
Yes.
in contradiction to the site plan that
Yes.
was approved.
So what
Is that
happened?
accurate?
Kind of.
Okay.
So what happened is the initial building permit came in and it matched the site plan, right? But they didn't get a building permit for the swimming pool, and when the swimming pool was issued, they didn't check the site plan. And then also the house was modified, and they didn't file for amendment to the building permit yet, which again, in theory, would have caught the fact that it needs to be fixed and doesn't comply with the site plan. So there is some miscommunication that happened on the end of the building division, the applicant and the town planning board. So we gotta fix it
I
to
think
the best of our ability.
miscommunication is a very nice word. You know, this wasn't done by a homeowner on his own. Obviously, lots of professional people involved in this project.
You're the architect on the property?
These are some photographs of the existing conditions that are shown, or that are on the site. This is the grading. That's the.
Maybe you can just hold it up for us. No, just hold it up for everybody to see.
This is the grading that's currently on the side of the pool, right there. There's already been a lot of. This is more a photo showing the same. Let me do this actually. More of the same here. This is there's already been revegetation that's taken place on the site too.
The house is built?
House is
The
built.
house is built.
The revegetation is consistent with what was approved or consistent with what was
There
not
was
approved?
no revegetation plan approved because they were not, their original site plan did not show them exceeding the allowable limit.
That's correct.
So no revegetation plan was approved. It appears that they have revegetated in accordance with the revegetation plan for the cul-de-sac redevelopment. If it had come to me, I would have recommended other planting species before they planted, because really the pitch pines are, if you can see, it's mostly oaks, and there is some pitch pines in the area, but it's predominantly oaks. In that area, I would have recommended a different species. But at this point in time, a lot of those plants will need to be removed in order to do some grade restorations. Whether or not you're willing to allow them to reuse those, that's part of what we need to
Right.
discuss as part of today's
Right.
way to proceed.
Well,
way to
for
go
starters, they would need a re-veg plan
Right.
Yes,
that we see and approve.
agreed.
Yes, we acknowledge that, but I think the larger issue at the moment is how you want to see these grades restored to the maximum extent practical. It's not going to go back to the way it was. It's not physically going to happen, but there are ways to try and mimic what had previously been there. And as you can see from the documents that I sent out, one of the recommendations that Mr. Watkins is recommending is actually putting a retaining wall on the east side of the swimming pool, and then, modifying the grades to try and bring them back to a more natural condition, and then making some grade modifications over here to try and bring them back to a more natural condition. And we want to confirm that that's the way you want to proceed, so that we can get finer detailed plans submitted as part of revised site plan amended site plan application and the site disturbance application.
Has Marty looked at the proposal?
No, Marty hasn't looked at this. It's not in wetlands, so it wouldn't have been referred.
I'm just wondering, it's already been disturbed. When was the last time of disturbance? And then, what's the cost benefit analysis for Marty, maybe, or whomever
Tom
we
Houghton.
refer it to
Tom Houghton.
to say from
Engineering.
an engineering and from an ecological perspective, are we doing more damage by restoring, than
I mean, I could
I don't
ask
know
him,
the answer to that, but I
could
think it's an
ask him,
important
but
question.
in my past experience having worked for him, he usually likes to see things tried to restore back to the maximum extent practicable. The construction's occurred in the last 2 years. It's not like it's been there for 10 years and the area's had a chance to stabilize and naturalize. It's relatively new.
Teresa, have they excavated when they changed the profile of the soils? Did they excavate, or
Most of it is fill.
it's fill with
So
soil?
there are some areas of excavation. For example, here, the largest difference on this plan was 6 feet of fill at this corner of the northeast corner of the swimming pool. There is a -2 here, but most of it is fill.
I'd say for the most part, the change has been in the range of 2 feet to 4 feet.
Can you just
Right.
slide that bottom plan over so just slide it over this way so we can see?
So this
So-
was the approved plan.
In the area along the south side, where you can see the driveway change, the grade essentially changed by 2 feet on that south side. And that's the south side right there in this photograph, where you see the revegetation.
And was that done to create a flat, stable surface for you to build this house?
No, that was done just to make a natural grade change from where the driveway was to where the existing grade was. I think the original plan that was submitted and approved was actually too steep for an area near a driveway. It actually called for a really steep pitch directly off the apron of the drive. And I think what was actually put there instead is a more gradual slope to reintegrate the driveway with the existing grades.
Did you refer this to Tom Houghton?
Tom Houghton's been involved, yes. He was the original person who went out there to look at the drainage for the road improvements. And that's how we got involved.
Does he have a
Like,
recommendation for the board?
I mean, there's been
not specifically for the purposes of site regrading. He had some items that needed to be addressed with respect to drainage for the driveway and common driveway access. There was another issue that they are supposed to provide a common driveway access, which is not provided on this current plan.
It's that one, Teresa? That long one coming in?
Actually, the common driveway is supposed to be up here.
There's a small section of the driveway that was approved as part of the 2012 revegetation of the cul-de-sac, where it was called out to be a common drive.
Mhm.
And I actually don't know the reasons for that. I have some options that could avoid having a common drive here, but I think that's a separate issue to what we're talking about at the site over here.
I mean, there's a significant amount of fill in this place where the property is actually built, right? The original contours were like about 204 that first floor elevation is 214, so you're looking at about 10 feet of fill, which is why you have that big slope going down the side.
Yeah,
In some areas, but this right here, this contour immediately adjacent to the approved stone patio the stone patio was 214.
Really?
well,
I
but,
believe so, unless
I'm not saying that, I'm
but
saying
George,
this is like a 204 contour in this area here.
you're right, the original approved plan did have fill coming into the site and making a more level place for the house to go. And the changes that Teresa and Tom brought up have to do with the shift of the pool and the shift of the driveway primarily, not anything else.
Okay, and you never thought about coming in for a revised site plan?
Mr. Watkins didn't
Mm.
submit the original building permit. I just wanted to make that clear
Mhm.
that it was a different agent, and I believe it was a different agent that did the site plan. So I don't know again
Okay.
if there was miscommunication there as well.
Right.
I don't
And I'm
know.
sure there's a construction manager in charge of the project or something that's
Yes.
supervised this throughout.
Yes, and so that's probably his fault too for not coming back and making all departments realize that this needs to be resubmitted.
Change.
Just curious, you don't have control of any of the additional lots in that subdivision, do you?
No, it's just about this one lot, this one.
Okay.
site.
Because in the past, we've addressed some of these issues by encumbering other lots with more restrictive clearing to allow,
All the lots at the bridge have a restricted standard 35% clearance. And all the other lots have been addressed with revegetation plans for the building of the houses that have been built there after the fact.
okay.
And that also stands for revegetation plans that are done for the actual clubhouse, the maintenance building, the workers' housing level too.
Because it looks like a lot of them are undeveloped, I guess.
Yeah, about
Most of
13
them are
lots.
undeveloped. There are two houses that are currently built. There's one that was in process of being permitted, but this is the third house that's being constructed.
So what's our process here?
So again, Mr. Watkins has submitted to us via email, and I printed them out, some potential options for resolving and restoring to the best of our ability the grades where we can. I believe it's generally the third page is I think the preferred plan, which shows a retaining wall.
Right.
Here's some additional copies of the.
So I think you showed a retaining wall on the pool side. I'm not sure that a retaining wall is, and adding more structure is the way to go with this particular site.
Well, we-
Because I'm worried about adding more structure in the ensuing
Are you gonna be
foundation.
Yeah.
as
clearing
we
more?
build
Are you
it.
gonna be clearing more to put that?
No, because there's sufficient area to put in a retaining wall there.
Well, I actually don't know about the footings yet. We'd have to figure that out. It does change the grade by approximately 2 feet by adding that retaining wall along the east side. We could also move the grade back closer to the driveway in that red. That's something that can be done. I don't know if that's the best option either. If we were to come back and have this, and we are coming back to have this approved, we have to get this approved. And if I were doing this plan all over again, I would never have shown the contours as close to the driveway as they're shown right here. I think it's a really awkward way to approach the house. I think it's an awkward way to resolve the grading. I think it's an awkward way to reintroduce new structures, new build in an existing landscape. So I would approach it in a more gradual, natural way, which is the way it was actually built. Things can certainly shift as needed, but I actually do think the way that this was approached and the way this is approached are the most natural approach you can do in this situation.
So where does that leave us? Teresa, what do you think?
I mean, if you're okay with leaving the grades the way that they are, that's, a revised site plan is easy enough to approve. However, I mean, part of the reason why you require these site plans is because the topography at the site is so unique, and then to completely alter it seems contrary to the intents of why you're having site plan applications.
Exactly, true. And there's all of the topography here on APOD is very sensitive, and it has 35% clearance for a reason.
Did your firm, were all the lots conveyed to separate parties, or does your firm have control over the additional building that's gonna move
I don't
forward?
have control over any of them. Our client has control over several of the lots right now.
Okay, so you'll be involved in future construction?
Possibly.
See how this goes.
If that client does have control over several of the lots, perhaps they could rectify the situation by dedicating a portion of another lot, you know, since it is in the same area. I mean, I don't know if that's,
I think that
Well,
was
that's
what
what Dennis was saying,
clearing
that-
restrictions, like
Well, so
more
you're-
than 35% on the other ones.
There's been, that's a, the 35% is something that's been written as part of the regs of all the sites. And typically we could clear more in a typical residential application. In all of these particular applications, in order to construct the two houses that were built up there, more was cleared and then revegetated back to the 35%, in some cases
Well,
less.
no,
Because
you're
was this
supposed
a-
to comply, you're not supposed to over-clear to
I-
revegetate,
I'm
that's
just-
not,
I
that's
know,
not
I'm
the way
just-
the code is supposed to work.
But this
The
is a
code-
PDD? The
I'm
This
bridge,
is APOD, and,
I'm just
No,
saying
I
how
know, but
those
was it-
other,
the bridge was done via,
but this is not the.
it's not
bridge.
part of the bridge? Okay.
This
So
is
how
its
do-
own separate
Says
subdivision
basic
called Bridgehampton Road Race.
Do you have covenants on each of the lots?
I'd have to check, I'm sure that,
Are all the site plans for the other lots been approved yet?
no, there's no reason yet because they haven't been
Okay.
transferred.
So
So
what was
what-
this I'm sorry, Dennis.
I'm
I'm gonna
sorry.
step over you're a board member, I'm just.
What we want to
just
do
have
when we go
questions.
forward with these site plans is we want to, just like we do with the wetlands, we want to require project limiting fence in the cleared areas, which will remain, and it doesn't have to be a formal fence, it can be that orange plastic fence,
Yeah.
which will remain throughout the construction. That way it can be verified every time there's an inspection by the building inspector.
Yes.
As soon as clearing violates that area, it would be stopped, the job would be stopped. Because Teresia's right, we don't, it goes in the intent, but we're not pinning, that's behind the bridge.
Yeah, like-
But we might, in order to get back to what was approved here and where we want changes, is to use some of this project limiting fencing so that we can
Well,
see.
Well, now we have to,
Right,
we have
when
to
you
put
amend
back.
the, when we amend the site plan and when we do the site disturbance application, any changes in the grades, it will be conditioned
Yeah.
on installation of the project limiting fence to make sure that no additional issues arise, as well as doing the revegetation and
Right.
so on. But the question is, what do you want to see?
I
Do
mean-
you want to see, like, these grades over here brought down a couple of feet, and then these grades over here pulled back some, or is this okay and this is not okay?
You
So
know,
that
there's
they
three-
have some direction
Yeah.
in
I would-
finalizing
I
it.
would-
I mean, from my mind, I'd have to defer to both engineering and the environment division.
Exactly, I was gonna say the
To
same.
accomplish the best,
Right.
best scenario. If those two departments are comfortable with it, I'm certainly comfortable with
So
it.
we could work with Tom on this.
I
Tom
think
and,
Tom and Teresa need to.
and Marty and Teresa.
Well, is this gonna go to Marty or Teresa, you're
N-
gonna?
Well,
Teresa's equipped. I
if
mean,
you want it to, yeah, if you wanted to, we can send it to the conservation board as a
Mhm.
referral.
Okay.
I think so,
Or
to get the best,
Oh, yeah.
just maybe just a Marty,
Yeah.
yeah.
for the advice to
Is
get the
it-
best, to get the best result.
Is it
Based on
required? I mean, why, Marty doesn't typically come involved with any of these.
Marty would be very involved in a re-veg plan, for
Re-veg,
sure.
yeah.
When I worked
Species,
for the Environment
quantity.
Division, about 6-7 years ago, we were doing vegetation plans.
And they're advisory, the report the
Right.
referral,
Well, yeah, I
he'll
mean,
be
the
advisory.
considerations here is engineering and environmental, so
Mhm.
it's natural that we would refer to both. And then I wonder, has there been an as-built survey done to figure out the percentage of overclearing?
Yes, this is the as-built survey, and I don't know if it has the as-built bearing on it. They revegetated 49,000 square feet.
So we wanna get, if they're allowed 35%, what are they cleared currently?
So if they were allowed 35%, they were allowed 58,000 square feet, and then it looked like they were over, and then they used some plant material to revegetate down back to 52,000.
Yeah, but what's happening is they're going to their revegetation without a plan.
Right,
There's
so
no
the
plan.
We really
actual,
don't
like,
count, we
with
don't
the
count that as
species and
revegetation.
Correct.
I think we need the apples to apples comparison, a
Okay.
percent against a percent of where we stand, and then considering a few options, right, from an engineering perspective, from an environmental perspective, and from a revegetation perspective, you know, because if the client is also in control of a couple of other lots, you know, and you're supposed to be at 35 or you're at 45, can we impose
Well,
on
so
the other lots?
I don't know if
amend
I
the
don't know if
covenant?
that's possible, and that's something that we would have to research with Christine, because the lots are over 150,000 square feet. So I believe they're mandated under normal circumstances in APOD. They're supposed to have something like 20%. Claire, is it 20%? The next one down for the clearing calculations, is it 20% or is it 15?
Are they
Oh,
5-acre lots?
Oh, yeah, because
No,
the lot
they
is
vary.
168,000
They vary.
Yeah,
square
this,
feet.
They
these
vary.
clearing
Because
was
they're
assigned to
different.
these, I
Right,
remember these.
so it might be that these specific clearing calculations were assigned based on some
Yes,
The
criteria
general
established
area.
by
Yeah.
the subdivision, because, you know, from experience, my lot is in an APOD, and it's 80,000 square feet and it's 35%, and then I believe it bumps up at the next level at like 120 or
Right.
something like that.
But the covenant here is probably 35% across the board.
Correct, so the
35%.
transfer of clearing rights may be an issue, which I guess we could discuss further,
Right.
I
but,
don't know how they would,
and
So-
then that may make
create
redevelopment
issues
of
on the
those
other one.
lots even more difficult.
yes. I
Yeah,
think
sure.
yeah.
So can we resolve this from our end by saying that we would refer to the engineering department, to have Marty take a look and you?
Right.
And
Just-
get an as-built so we know exactly where we are,
Okay.
to do a re-veg
Present
plan
with a
that's
couple of
approved.
options
So-
with the considerations.
We have, they're
Noted.
currently, allowable is 35%, currently it's 31% with the re-veg in place. So
We'll like
yeah, I know.
count that out because it's.
Yeah, because
So
it's
I'd
not a
have to get you
re-veg
the numbers
plan.
Yeah.
to vote for the-
And Jake, as a reminder, there's that area of natural woodlands there in the northwesterly corner that the understory's been removed too, so that can't
That's
be
clear.
counted either. You have to remove the wood chips in that area, so that also, the understory there is gonna have to be restored.
That would have to be restored as part of this, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have enough for,
I think so.
I would just say
okay,
Can I-
to
just-
recommend,
Sorry, one more issue, going back to the common drive, just while I'm here. So there is a common drive, and the common drive was put in place for access to lot 15.
We'll check.
That was part of the,
Okay.
all right, that was part of the, it's supposed to be a driveway access for lot 15. One idea is to, and this would be a concurrent path, would be to remove that common driveway easement and have access directly on the checkered path. And what we're showing here is a potential means to have that access directly on the checkered path.
Yeah.
It's atypical to have a common drive created so that you can access two properties from one driveway.
I don't know
This-
what the
That's
thinking
not
was.
That's
true.
true. We do that every day.
I know on the site here, every other property here has direct access onto checkered path.
But what this doesn't show, and you might come to that, is it doesn't show what the contours are on that proposed common access driveway to lot 15 and how much clearing you'd have to do to achieve that. You have to go through significant elevation changes.
You.
And I don't know
Well,
the
yeah,
site.
it's actually worse from the common driveway than off checkered, based on the
Oh, it's
contours.
flatter, it's flatter.
I'm sorry, I was
It's
looking at
flatter,
the
yeah.
original plan. not the-
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Yeah, it is flatter going to checkered path. The second page of this shows where the driveway would need to go in order to access the common drive. So more contours and more clearing.
Can we
Oh,
check the
I-
language on the approval of this subdivision to find out why this happened? Because I'm kind of not familiar with this.
You mean with
Probably
respect
just
to
to
the
maintain.
common driveway? Yeah, I can do that.
I think
So
we
that
need a
was
little
done as part of
research.
the lot line
I'm sorry.
modification in 2013.
2013, a lot line modification.
So,
Right.
so I'm a little
That
bit
removed
confused.
the cul-de-sac. That's when the common driveway
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit
Put in
confused
place.
just because I wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's the existing driveway. You're saying this is a proposed separate driveway?
Yes.
So is the common driveway supposed to come through here? Or is
No,
this?
the common
No, the
driveway is
blue.
supposed to come through the blue,
The blue.
but because,
Oh,
the
so-
property
So
owner
the
owns
second, the
both.
second page.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the property owner owns both lots,
Yeah.
and for the purposes of, I believe, clearing for lot 15, it was easy for them
Okay,
at
so
the
this
time
takes
to
access
take
off.
access off a
So this
driveway
is
that they
common
had
driveway.
already built.
which doesn't make sense.
But for formalized
So now you
access,
gotta
it's
come
supposed
this
to
way.
come out through the blue,
That's the way it's laid out.
Through the blue.
through the blue.
So
Yeah, so
the
second
blue is
page.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a second page.
Second
that
page,
shows
right.
it shows a proposed common driveway, or utilizing a common driveway.
Let me just see.
That's,
the page we
I
did.
guess
Oh, so
that
it'll
makes
come
sense.
down from here.
That's what they
Yeah,
don't
you can
want.
even see
Right?
it, really well in this one, 204 splatter.
So
Right,
this
yeah,
is
just
not,
see-
this is
Can't
not
be
in the
seen
cards?
also.
Yeah, I mean, it's more on the
No.
strip that's over
So
here.
it's here?
You can't
Oh,
really see
right,
the.
can't even see it on that
And
one.
then here, coming from a common point.
If we were to go from the common drive, which is
Mhm.
what's intended right here, you'd have to snake around back to the blue right
Right.
there.
I
Mhm.
get
So
it.
if we go back to checkered path,
Well, you wouldn't, you'd go right up. Would you
well,
not?
this is actually a fairly natural grade
Mhm.
and approach back to checkered path.
But
This is
that's
what
for the
they're
other
asking.
lot,
That
that's
actually-
lot
This is what they're
16.
This is for lot 15. This is for lot
This is
15.
what they're
15.
asking for. This is
We
what
Fine.
need
we,
to overlay the contours on this particular thing,
Sure.
and then
And
I
is
think
that-
that will be very illustrative.
Is that pretty much show? Is that what's there right now? It almost looks as that common, that separate
This is
driveway is there.
2024 aerial photographs, which are generally taken in March.
Right, but it's
You know,
is that already cleared there then?
it looks like there's already access
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
made there.
Pretty much in line with what you're
Yeah,
looking
so
for.
the common
where the
point
common
is up
driveway
by
should be.
checker, and then it comes and splits.
is there a building permit on 15? Is that
Yet,
in place?
I don't believe so, not yet.
But it's cleared.
Miscommunication.
We're supposed to clear the APOD without a building permit or according to plan to this board.
All right. Are you, you're not, you didn't say you were involved in 15.
Oh, okay.
Before I
So-
I
forget,
think it's
just to record a recommendation of a global flag on all these lots in the GIS system, so that when the building department pulls it up, they know that there's been issues here, and that, you know, there is the clearing restriction and the requirement for the project limiting fences, and that they require site plan approval, because it is atypical. You know, maybe somebody didn't know, but if they pull it up in GIS, they're
I
gonna see it
believe
then.
there is, but I have to double check.
Yeah.
There is, I just saw one on lot 15. Maybe not here, but there's one on this one. I believe there is, so, but I'll double check.
Okay,
That said, with respect to the common driveway easement, that would necessitate filing of a third application for a subdivision amendment.
okay.
Just,
mm-hmm.
Get your typing fingers ready.
Yeah, I thought it was back.
so
Go back.
you would be okay with a subdivision amendment?
An
Sure.
application
Yes,
for
makes
one.
sense. But I think, to Kate's point, I think it'd be good to see that at some point when you're making
With the
that, whether
contours
you
on
can
it,
do the contours.
Yeah.
Superimpose both on what you're proposing for as a separate driveway and the common driveway,
Yep.
link back to the common driveway easement, so you can see the difference.
Did we do a site plan for lot 15 yet?
Yeah.
Not yet.
If there's any action going on lot 15, it should be a stop work order.
I don't believe there is any current action underway.
That should
Not
be
when
issued.
I was
Well,
at
if there
the
is.
site, there
That
was
should be
no
issued
cars
right
or any
away.
vehicles or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's in violation as it is.
bring that right to building.
Cleared all that out.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks.
coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Quite the inheritance.
Yeah, a gift.
Graphics are great.
Save this for the, save it for the next meeting.
Okay, we're moving on to Watermill Building Supply. Claire, that is your application. Thank you. Yeah.
So we saw this last meeting, I'll
Yes.
pull up the aerial and
Good.
the plan for us to look at. And board had some questions before they considered the application, so the applicant had some discussion on that meeting, but the applicant's coming in for a work session, I think would be productive
Yes.
today, before you proceed with the pre-submission and pre-application on the application. So you can start it, I'll get you some plans.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yes, and your name for the record, please?
Robert Fischetti, Fischetti, 3 Southampton Road, Southampton, attorney for the applicant. Good afternoon, everybody.
Tommy Nippon, I'm the applicant.
Nippon?
Nippon.
Thanks, Claire.
Okay, so just as an overview, as requested, we have come back with some support for
The mic's on.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so we've come back with some support for our decision, some of the things that we brought up regarding the curb cut and the internal traffic flow and the building size. We have support to show you how we got to those decisions on the curb cut and the internal traffic flow. Regarding the building size, we did bring sort of some numbers just so you can see the context of what we're looking at. We recognize that that's ultimately a zoning board decision to make as far as the size of the buildings, and we're comfortable making our argument to the zoning board, but at the same time, we respect this process. So we're giving you sort of our, it's not a fully, we're gonna obviously develop the argument further before we go to the zoning board, but just our overview of the fact that if you max out the site, if it was a blank slate, building-wise, we're much under that, and I'll pass those around. And then we have also Joe Lombardi from the Rayner Group and Ron Hill, who is our DOT consultant here, to discuss the decisions that we made as far as access and internal flow and everything else. So we'll get into all of that. Ultimately, we do feel that we presented a complete application. So we would like to, before, we welcome the feedback. We're interested to hear what the board has to say, but before making any major turns in our application, we would, given what the stage of the process we're in, we would want the benefit of the public comment and the referrals and everything else to know if, we feel we're on the right track, we feel like we, explored all
That's
the
the
options.
purpose of this.
Yes.
So,
So let me pass these around just so you can see sort of what we were thinking as far as the lot coverage, and then I have some plans as far as our traffic flow.
Can you explain what the larger items are that we have here, just to see if we
Oh yes, I think
maybe
it's the
have you hold
same
them up or
as-
something? Are they the same as the smaller copies?
Pretty much just the same as the small, right? Okay, so.
Do we need the
which
large ones?
Large one you
The
want?
large one is either the site plan or
that's
the
a site
subdivision
plan.
look,
This is a subdivision.
overlook
I think it's
on
just
the
the
property.
overview, as far as our traffic flow. How we set it up.
Yeah, because that was a big issue, right, that we talked about, internal circulation and cross-access.
Yes, so you can see, we have the truck path and the customer path. And if you can see on.
Truck path is red?
The red, yeah.
Yes, and so page 1 is existing, page 2 is the fully developed site and how we plan for the traffic to flow. Using both sites, using both entrances and exits, understanding that some of our traffic is customers and some of our traffic is deliveries, and we tried to make as organized of a flow of that as possible while still leaving room for turnarounds and parking and everything else. We did look at a lot of options as far as, obviously, the curb cut flows into how the traffic flows. We do feel that having them separated like this, having the ability to go in and have the customer traffic go around to pull through the building, all of this is sort of the most slender and efficient version of this that we could come up with after many different options. The curb cut, we do feel located opposite Riverside Road is the most effective. Mr. Hill can speak to that more, but as I said, that plays into the internal traffic. We wanted the sites to be able to act mostly independently. Parcel 2 can have its own truck turnaround and get deliveries and everything else, but there is some cooperation between the sites as far as entrance and exit.
So, I think it would be helpful to see without the curb cut what the traffic circulation would be, because it looks like you could achieve the same circulation around your building without that curb cut.
Say that again?
On page 2, you're showing the circulation around the second proposed building. And
Yes.
would you be able to achieve that if you didn't have the curb cut?
I think that having to build the trucks go through the parking lot was a problem. So if the truck is pulling in,
Yep.
to be able to get
You
to
have your
parcel
flow
2.
already this way.
But to have a tractor trailer come through this entire parking lot, I think is a big part of the issue in order for to get a delivery to the rear of this building. If you come in here, you're sort of going against the flow of everything and coming in this opposite direction. There's also the concern of congestion if to service both sites, if everything is happening from one entrance and one exit. We feel like with signs throughout the lot, especially at the entrance and exits, we can direct the different types of traffic and help to sort of control the chaos.
So, yeah, if I can ask about the red lines and the green lines, the driveway to the west, which is your existing driveway, right?
Yes.
Good. Your red lines are nice and long, and there's some green lines under there. It tells me that I think this is your primary truck entrance, because the one on the right is green, but there's some little red dots under there too. So
I think it's just from Joe. Do you want to? I think that's just from the.
are they
overlap.
getting equal cars and trucks treatment, I guess is my,
Is this?
or are you
just
making
because
one a
it's-
truck
it's an
entrance?
overlap of
Joe
both?
Lombardi from the Rain
Trucks. Is this just because it's both types of traffic?
It's both types of traffic and the way it plots. The
So you're-
green plots over the red a little bit.
So both entrances and exit, there's an entrance and exit, two
Yes.
driveways, each has its
Yes.
entrance and exit, and each handles cars and trucks equally.
Yes.
There's no preference or direction or.
It would be very helpful, at least for me, maybe for the board, that we look at parcel 2 as a parcel, because this is the parcel that you want to carve off, right?
Yes.
From your overall lot.
Yes.
And it's a 15,000 square foot building on a what? What's the total
And if you
area?
have that in our larger
73,000.
plans.
73,000,
In our initial submission is a plan for just parcel 2.
okay, and what is the parking requirement just for parcel 2?
Just for the 15,000 square foot building.
Yeah, I want to just look at this building, which gets clumped in with everything, and we can't really see it.
You have the
I didn't bring all the files.
Well, they should have it. Because I want to be sure that all of the parking that's indicated is for parcel 2 and not a shared parking arrangement, or are they doing a shared parking arrangement?
Oh, yes, no,
No.
they're standalone calculations for each.
So all of this points in the direction of separate access. I mean, one day this could be, you could,
Yes.
Sell
the
this
idea is that
parcel.
They want to be able to operate independently, but at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that there has to be a little
Right.
bit of overlap.
Right, and well,
So-
within that second parcel, there's not enough circulation on its own.
there's not enough room at all here. I mean, as Tom pointed out, these green lines to the east of the parcel is you could not get a tractor trailer through there.
Those
don't
were
think-
all cited out to Joe. This is all measured out to get a tractor trailer
Yeah.
in through there, correct?
Yes.
So is there, with regard again to the curb cuts, is there any difference between what we're looking at not the internal circulation, but where they come in and off and on to Montauk Highway. Is there any difference between what we're looking at today and what we saw in the initial version that we saw?
As far as the location of the driveways?
Or the way
No,
you're
this
separating
is our
trucks or
plan. We just gave some
vehicles?
color coding to
Okay.
show the flow of
Okay,
traffic.
so it's the same as
Yes,
what we
it's the
saw
same
last
plan.
time?
Yes, it's the same
Okay.
plan.
Now, what you didn't indicate is cross-access. We have cross-access to this parcel.
There is cross-access,
On the eastern
on the
side,
east side, yes, or there's an opportunity for cross-access, already reported.
right,
It would
but
have
you've
to be
not
acted on.
utilized that in any way.
I don't know if is there a parking lot that abuts up against us? I'm not sure if there.
Yeah, it's being constructed. as we
Yes,
speak.
that's under construction, there's a large retaining wall along that entire.
Big grade drain
No,
change.
not the portion of the, not that portion. On the south portion, it should meet, it's been designed to meet that.
How far back is it, Claire, do you know?
Oh, it's gonna be where they're showing it on that southern portion of the property. I haven't been to the site though, I will take a peek.
There is a big retaining wall on the easterly side of the property, running almost across the whole property.
But it's supposed to stop to allow the cross-access to happen on that southern portion. So
So
if
you're
they're
saying it's
building that
not?
now and they're doing it wrong, they're gonna have
Right.
a problem. They're gonna be redoing the retaining wall.
That's the office park
Yeah.
that's right there.
And we're not opposed to connecting parking lots at all. That's not something we're.
Because I wanted to ask Claire,
This is the retaining wall, this is the return. wall
Here.
over
Here though, this is the connection,
The connection is up here.
Yeah.
Oh,
not on these,
okay,
parcels.
when you're saying southern, I.
no, sorry, southern portion of this parcel.
Of this lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's why the connection does make sense there, I think, but I will double check, that's good.
And we were proposing cross access to this lot here and
Mhm.
over here.
Okay, let's take a
because
peek at
that,
that.
Claire, just looking back, wasn't the Watermill Hamlet study, didn't that lay out a whole cross-access? And is that what we're currently working off of?
Yes, so we have a plan in our files,
Right,
yes.
right.
So the cross-access, Claire, is here. Here, that goes back, up here,
No, move your, I'm sorry, I'm gonna show you.
just show us.
Is that, who drew this? That's where it is.
But we'll
That's
get,
where the
we'll get
retaining
that
wall is.
plan.
That's where the cross-access is, right
Yeah.
here.
Yes, this is where
Are
the
you saying that the
cross-access is
retaining
here.
wall is all the way up there?
No,
No, no.
the retaining wall comes to there, there's an access, and then the retaining wall
Oh,
continues.
okay.
So that's where it's approximately.
Ah, okay, great. Now this outdoor storage that you have marked here, material staging area,
That's where trucks come to unload. Obviously, they don't pull right to the racks, so they have to unload and temporarily, take everything off the truck and then find its home either on a truck going out or on a rack, inside.
so this is that goes with this parcel,
Yes.
not with parcel two.
No, that's all on parcel.
Okay,
Just
so I-
below there is the dividing.
right. So I didn't get a parking calculation for parcel two yet. Did anybody figure that out?
Yeah, we provided a parking calculation on sheet C5, and the parking that's required is provided on parcel 2.
Do you have that there?
It's a
Joe?
calculation, we need 59 spaces. Actually, we need 51 spaces, and we're providing 59 spaces.
This is type 1 action, Claire.
Oh, this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, it also seems that if you really want to keep parcel 1 and 2 separate, in case every, they do go to separate owners at some point, that your truck circulation to the back of that building in parcel 2 might not be possible without overlapping. You got an 18-wheeler going in the back there, how does that get out of there?
Yeah, that's true.
So we looked at that, how does that?
Right into the staging area. It would.
No, this is a type 1 action.
We're providing cross-access along the entire back of parcel 2.
Right, so that to avoid the need for a turnaround, right? So they
Yeah.
just keep going.
Okay, so, but that's not, so, and, I mean, that's what would be required, so that,
Right.
because obviously the truck couldn't get out of that there without coming back around into parcel 1.
Right.
That'd
Yes,
almost
there would
be-
have to be cooperation between the sites, whatever the future ownership was. We recognize it's unavoidable to have them
Well, you have an easement to file the
exactly.
covenant.
An easement, so there's legal rights to traverse, but we wanted them to be able to interfere with each other as little as possible.
You know, in my opinion, this is a type 1 action. We're gonna have to bring some expertise regarding circulation traffic. It's, what we're doing here is just sort of winging it, if you wanna use the term.
We understand there's gonna be
Yeah.
referrals and
We
everything else.
appreciate, you know, at least I appreciate the graphics and time spent drawing this out, but we're gonna need some professional eyes on it.
Yeah,
And Claire, as far as coverages on these lots, I mean, right there you have a pre-existing lot coverage on the entire parcel. But now we're subdividing, putting up larger buildings. Are we kind of exceeding the
That's
coverage,
the
or is that
zoning board's.
a ZBA
Yes,
issue?
we will be at the zoning board for that. We have our argument to make in that regard. We are at, if the property was a blank slate and divided and subdivided to its potential, we're under what that building lot coverage would be, and, you know, and we'll make our case to the zoning board for that.
but we have to be mindful of segmentation in a seeker review.
No, I understand.
On building 1A, you show sliding glass doors, but I don't see any garage doors or anything. Are they on there and I'm not seeing them, or is this not enclosed? This is just an open. Says-
Building 1A is a drive-through. It's,
Okay.
it's a, I don't know how else to describe it. It's a manufactured building with a large entrance.
They've got all their lumber. The drive-through's on the left side.
Both sides.
Okay.
I'm unfortunately very familiar with this site.
Yeah, me too.
Plywood on the roof.
Yeah, and we're concerned with the ingress and egress. You have very large trucks coming out of here, very often making a left-hand turn on 27. So we'd have to have some traffic analysis as well, but that can all be
Yeah,
done in
traffic
secret.
study.
Yeah.
They're just done right now.
Right.
Traffic study.
So would it be encourage, the two options is encourage a compliant application, or the application complete would require the zoning board determination? Is that?
Yeah, so, you're at the pre-app stage for the subdivision, consideration, which obviously needs variances. And then the site plan application is a pre-submission also. So we would hash out all these issues, given some good guidance so far. But yeah, they need variances.
Yeah, because you're 75,000 square
Right.
feet.
Yeah. I mean, I just wouldn't wanna encourage that we're saying the path is go get your
We understand
variances,
that, and
you
the
know,
report from
we
this
should
board
comply.
will have a big caveat to it that you're going to the zoning board. We understand that. But we do understand that we have the right under the code to continue advancing this with that caveat, saying, okay, we've presented this, we've checked all the other boxes as far as technical submissions, everything that is, we've presented what our plan is. That has, subject to a lot of things, subject to DOT referral and town engineer and all those things, one of them being the big one, the zoning board reviews, and we're prepared to make our case to them as far as that goes. But we would like to proceed, we would ask the board to deem us complete so that we can have the benefit of the public comment and of all those referrals, so that, we did put a lot of thought into this plan, so we would like it to at least get its full vetting before we start taking big changes to it. So that's sort of where we're at, to at least be able to get the benefit of the next steps.
So you own the entire parcel, right?
Yes.
So do you have a contract vendee for that parcel, or you're maintaining control of
No,
it?
it's not going anywhere anytime soon, it's gonna stay.
You can have your plumbing stuff in there.
Yes.
Correct. We own plumbing supplies as well, so we're going to maintain control of it.
It's a very tight little space.
So, to your point, though, with the SECRA, is that, I think Dennis was saying this also, is that they're identifying significant issues with the traffic. The location, left-hand turns.
circulation.
And circulation.
So we're gonna need a traffic study, so we just kind of telling you right straight out, there would, there may be design changes in the
Understood.
amount, things like that. Because ZBA with these issues, we'd double check with them, but I think they would have to be part of the secret process
Right,
with us, so, we would
And they would want our referral before,
Right,
they-
there's gonna be a
so
referral.
it comes.
Right.
Right, we understand we're
Yeah.
not gonna run through this process in 6 months and be out here, like, we understand that there's a lot to go through here, but we did put a lot of thought into this, this plan, and we understand it's not rigid, it's going to be adjusted, but we like the benefit of all of those comments before we can decide how to, how to take it.
Okay, well, good.
Okay.
Glad
Joe,
you're
next time
here.
you come back, we're gonna bring you a chair. You
Yeah,
don't have to spend the
maybe.
meeting on your knee.
Yes.
You may not get up, Joe.
You're a trooper.
Can you get up?
So I do, if you wanna close the work session, I have the two actions, and we're deeming the subdivision application complete, but for pre-app stage, which is the initial stage. The pre-submission is just setting the pre-submission conference, so you're not saying any application is complete, you're just saying you have enough information to do that pre-submission process. So those are the big two actions if you
We're
wanna.
gonna be
close
running
it.
concurrently subdivision and.
Yes.
Yes,
but
we
I was
should.
saying, there is some room on December 14th, so I'd suggest that as the dates if you want to.
12?
12.
Well, we
Is
have to
there?
close.
Yeah, I know,
first.
because the 14th is my birthday.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
Saturday.
And I'm not.
I was like,
gonna be
no,
here.
not
I'm not
today.
gonna be here. Exactly.
Okay, so thank you very much. And I'd like to close the work session and go into the regular session. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are we taking 12 and 14 out of order?
I
Or?
think so, just since it's fresh in your brain.
So should we act, do other agenda items?
There's item number 12
And 14.
and number 14.
Can you actually get to Carrie? 'Cause I'll-
So number 12 is the completeness of the, what? Subdivision?
Subdivision.
I'll move it.
Okay, and moved by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor. 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, yeah. And then 14, which is the setting the pre-submission conference for, is December, we have anything else on that, Kristen?
That's fine.
December 14,
It's gonna be a heavy agenda.
December 12th.
yeah.
12, excuse me.
12,
That is, right now, that makes the fourth item?
it's right before I'm leaving for Europe.
We don't have,
That's the fourth item.
And then it's the fourth item.
The fourth item, we really shouldn't take anything more than that.
oh, we are, I'm sure.
We are.
You just don't have any more hearings until January 11th.
Yeah.
So it's you
Hmm.
might have to, just like the 14th of November, we have, more
Yeah.
than 4. Unless you want to put it on this on January 11th, it's up to you.
I'd put it on January 11th. This is nothing imminent
Sorry,
here.
that's the best I could do.
January 11,
Merry Christmas.
2025. Happy New Year.
January 11th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is
for
the
both.
date.
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
I'll move it.
No chance for December 12th.
No.
All right, thank you.
Motion by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor. No.
So. Huh? Is it January 9th?
January 9th.
Now we're changing that, it'll be January 9th.
Okay, so Claire, are you Watermill Associates, Square Associates?
I am. So this one you had approved in June, and we were awaiting the town. Oh no, I don't think so. I think we're up to High Ground School,
Hayground.
are we?
Hey, Brad,
High Ground School.
Did I
Right?
jump?
item 3.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay.
Playground School.
So we had reviewed this the last meeting. I think you were all familiar with this. Is a
Right.
modification to the site plan.
It's the addition of the library.
The addition to the library, so, everything came back pretty favorably. I just have some conditions, if you wanna go over them.
Sure.
Thanks. No, I just got text that I can stay. What? The release thing. Oh, you did.
I thought Joe was here.
Thanks, George.
He stepped out.
Joe Lombardi?
Yeah.
Please.
Just tell them it's also January 9th.
He says no issues, so just,
Okay. Does he have the report?
he does have one. Or email it to you, you have it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. So yeah, the bottom page 2, you'd be approving it with the conditions. A is the, show the contours south of the proposed building. So amend that, this is the town engineer's comments, and then indicate the location of the bollards in front of the EV chargers. And then the typical general conditions, which is LED less than 3,000 Kelvin, all HVAC systems and other utilities shall be screened.
Can we say compliant with dark skies?
Of
I mean,
course.
yeah. For the lighting?
Oh,
Referencing
sure.
the code section.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want me to say that in like in front of the dusk to dawn lighting fixtures or no?
Mm-hmm. All the lighting.
Okay.
I noticed that we've not been doing that, and we should.
Just as you did with 3C, as per section 300-184 of the code.
Oh, okay. So I'll put the code in there and dark skies, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Please.
perfect. These are just conditions I've been copying and pasting. And then no additional lighting on property without planning board approval. All outdoor lighting shall project downward and light sources not be visible. That's, I kind of say that with the town code, so I'll change that language and incorporate it all together. F is the town engineer pre-construction meeting. E-boxes are provided. And if the total fire area is greater than 12,000 square feet, an automatic sprinkler system shall be provided. 3A is the lighting cut sheets, affidavit, and C is the 6 sets of plans.
So we captured everything that was in your report, Claire?
Yep. So for your consideration.
Street numbers and all that stuff? You're just saying complying with the engineers?
You mean the fire marshal?
Mm-hmm.
The street numbers? Yeah, I can say key boxes shall be provided and street numbers per fire marshal requirements.
Like they're recommending electric vehicle charging stations?
Yes, so they show them on the site.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's 6 of them, and then that's just the bollards or some kind of protection be there.
Yep.
And bollards is typical.
Right.
Yeah.
And the architectural review board approved, right? Okay.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dennis, second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? 5 in favor, 1 absent.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you. And then Watermill, everything's Watermill today.
Square.
Watermill
Watermill
Square Associates?
Yes, this one is to reapprove the outdoor seating. We have done this in June, but we were waiting the town fire marshal to approve it because when you do outdoor seating, it creeps a little bit. So this is the site plan. This is Kiseki and Watermill Square, and they take a little portion to do some outdoor seating seasonally.
They're doing a half wall or something.
They're doing just locating the seating in
Oh,
their,
okay.
that interior space.
Oh, okay.
Right down
Just
the middle.
between the
Yeah.
buildings, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So here, it's limits, I put in fire marshal comments, which actually, let me pass these out to you.
2, 3,
Thank you.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's a lot of seating. Do we indicate exactly how many
Yes.
tables?
Yes, not tables, but seats, but we
Actual
could do
seats.
tables.
Tables, yeah, because
can do
they're
tables.
indicating tables, yeah. They have 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
It's 53 seats.
I count 14 tables. What do you all count? George, you counting?
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Does
14,
tables
15, 16,
14.
restrict
17.
them in any way?
I'm getting 17. There's some two-seaters along the edge of the building.
Ah, okay.
Does counting the number of tables restrict them in any way? Like,
No, I think
they
it's a
have two
number of-
parties of
Fire
two,
I think it's
they
a number
move
of
tables
seats.
apart, or?
I would imagine they probably could move around, because they've indicated a 2-table, a 2-table of 4, 4, 5.
There's a
Yeah,
number of
the fire marshal really
seats.
addresses
Yeah,
seats.
which is
Yeah.
what
So
counts even the
that's how
Yeah.
things are factored.
So I'm thinking if it's 2 tables pushed together, seats 4,
Yeah.
but if you have 2
Exactly.
parties, you might want 2
If they go
parties
by
of 2.
seats, they go by seats.
And we have that, Claire?
Yeah, 53
Yeah,
exterior
they,
seats.
they have to reduce the interior
14
seating
also.
by 53 when they go outside. They have to
They
keep,
do seats. Yeah, they'll go out and say, oh, we got 57. Get 3 seats out of there.
That's a lot of 2,
There's
4,
15 tables, right?
8,
It's 14.
12,
16, there's
13,
some
14,
two-seaters
15,
along
Yeah, I
16.
just
But
don't
it
know,
matters,
if
number
we're
of
getting
seats
into
that matter.
tables, right.
You can add up this, because they've numbered how many people are sitting
I have
here.
15.
So we can say up to 15 tables.
But that doesn't really matter, because if they have a two-seaters and they put them together to make one fifth,
yeah.
it's
I
a
think
number of
seats-
seats that really
It's
counts.
a number of
Yeah.
seats.
So, I mean, you have number of seats.
So there should be a maximum number of seats in this corridor.
Yes, and it's 53.
It's 53
Mm-hmm.
That's
per
in
the
the-
fire
interior,
marshal.
right.
That's in the
It's
fire
53.
marshal memo, right.
Right, and what they were concerned about is you may have permitted 53 at one point, and it melded into, well, they're moving the seats together and people cannot traverse the walkway,
Ah,
and that's important. So they have a number of conditions
Mhm.
related to that.
okay.
So, so they describe the application with the 53 exterior seats. They talk about the existing restaurant having 107 seats. The interior total of the restaurant shall be reduced by 53 seats when the outdoor seating plan is in use. Submitted outdoor dining plan shows tables and chairs directly in front of the restaurant and down the middle of the walkway. There shall be no deviation from the outdoor dining layout submitted. The east side of the walkway shall remain free and clear of tables and chairs to provide an obstructed walkway for pedestrian and provide access to the building on the east side of the walkway, building F. Umbrellas and or sunshades as observed during inspection shall not obstruct passage through the west or east walkway. Walkway shall not be cordoned off to prevent access to the walkway for pedestrians as observed during inspections when the restaurant is open and utilizing the outdoor seating plan. Portable outdoor gas-fired heating appliances shall meet the requirements and should not be used within 5 feet of any building exit or combustible material. So I've included all of those as conditions. The fire marshal, as it says, the plans, though I might go even further and say that the no deviation from the plan is submitted. Maybe I'll
So
include
that's
that one
Yeah.
too.
You know, Claire, there's no way they're going to give up 53 seats inside the restaurant if they have 53 tables outside. There's no way.
Well, they have to.
They'll keep the 107
They have to.
inside. Who's going to check?
Fire marshal.
Fire marshal.
That's why we have them working night and day in
Well-
the summer.
10:30 at night when everyone's vacated, like they usually do.
I think we should give that number then. Give them the number for the interior seating.
Mm-hmm.
You just,
Yes.
Yeah, half of
so
their
if it's
seats go to
107,
outside.
it's minus 53. So that gives them 54 inside.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if they're putting this plan together, they might also indicate the location of the gas-fired heating appliances, because the's not much room
There's
where to
not
put
room.
them, and, you know,
I think that, I
Yeah,
can't
those
see
are
it,
so
but there
local,
are,
though.
there are little things here.
so is everything else on inspection,
Everything
right?
else is rule. So true.
Is that indicated on the plan? I can't
I don't
see.
think so.
I mean, it's literally
Oh,
in
it's
like
so tiny.
Says
one point
planter.
type.
Yeah.
It says planter.
Alright.
Does it say heater?
No, there's no heaters shown.
Planter.
Planter, planter, planter.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
should show where the heaters are gonna be, I think. I mean.
Yeah.
And they want them so many feet away from the building, right?
I mean, you only have 6 feet in the aisles, and then they have their planters here.
We haven't done it today, but we.
Or just
can
say
ask
they're
them to
not
show me.
allowed if there's not enough space for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest safety thing here.
They want
Yeah.
them 5
Gotta
feet
put it
from
by
any
the
building,
building.
Claire.
Mhm.
They want the
From
fire
the
marshal
entrance of-
wants them 5
Yeah.
feet,
5 feet from the entrance.
any building or exit.
Is it worth asking John if he wants it on the site plan or not? John Rankin, or who's ever?
No, I think if you want to show possible locations of heaters, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So let me table this and let me get that information.
No pun intended, right?
Yes. All the puns intended. My next one then
Is Watermill again,
Watermill
Village
Townhouses.
Townhouses.
So if you've been driving by, they look pretty
Every
good.
day.
I went and did inspections. We're just waiting for the town engineer, but they are requesting that the maintenance bond be set for the landscaping. The original landscape cost is $549,000, and so the maintenance bond would be for $183,000.
Motion.
Okay, motion by
Second.
Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor.
Do you
Rivian,
wanna go?
Rivian? Teresa?
Yes.
Hi, and we'll just get your name for the record, please.
Justin Ackerman, Privy.
Justin Ackerman,
Dan Vitale.
Dan Vitale,
And Stephen Robert.
thank you.
Hi. So, you received the draft report that I sent you, and most of it is pretty standard fare, but I think the main concern that I had heard from the public hearing was whether or not access to the site was, safe, and, what can be done to ensure that it is safe. At the public hearing, the applicant indicated that they were willing to restrict the access, to right in, right out only. So I guess, the report does go through all the standards, but I think specifically the standard, the general standard for, heat, which is the site particularly suitable for the location of such use? So I guess that's where we need to have our discussion.
Okay. So we remain concerned with
Sure.
exiting this site. And over time, we've developed a cross-access agreement that, if utilized, would take you out, exit to the west. Teresa, can you just indicate where it would be with your cursor?
So, presently there is cross-access from this lot to this lot, and then this lot to this lot. So there is currently cross-access between these 3 lots. However, there is no cross-access between this lot and this lot. There is a requirement on this lot for future cross-access to this vacant lot in between the 2.
So do you control that vacant lot?
We do, yeah.
You do. So you could exit past that lot that you have control of, past the other lot, and come out west on County Road 39, which is a much safer exit.
I guess our concern right now is mostly kind of around budget and timing.
And so I think what I think we've collected and like the conversations that we've had with New York DOT and the county, their concerns, you know, they've aligned with our approach to kind of moving forward without that cross-access agreement. And I think we can put physical barriers in place that control that right in, right out, so that people aren't just kind of going for it. Oh yeah, there you go.
Maybe a little easier, sorry.
And what we found from our initial studies, is that it's only about 23 additional vehicles during peak hours, which is less than half of kind of the threshold that the ITE requires. And what our traffic consultant also found is that during those peak hours, there's about 1,500 vehicles traveling on that road. And so we totally understand that it's like high traffic. We want to be as safe as possible. But I think what we're seeing from our initial studies is that the amount of traffic on that we are sort of adding there is really, really minimal compared to what's existing. So our uses are almost create the same amount of traffic. And yeah, so I mean, we'd love to approach this in a way where maybe we were able to put that cross-access easement agreement together now and just have the agreement in place, and then maybe there's a way that we can track incidents or track any issues that might arise 6 months after we start, or whatever time period we want to define after we open, that would then, you know, start to show that we would potentially need that. Right now, we just don't have budget to really go into that lot and build a new 2-lane road.
You mean the vacant lot?
The vacant
The one
lot.
that's being used for storage?
Yeah, because if you go out there now too, there's a huge.
It's just a dirt lot.
It's a dirt lot, but it's been.
The grade change as well.
Yeah,
so
there's
we're
a
concerned
pretty
with that.
there's a pretty extreme grade change right at that location.
What, like so? Like
It looks
this?
like about a foot or so.
It goes. Yeah, it goes up maybe a few feet, and then it dips down actually, and
So
then
there's
comes
a bump.
back up to
Yeah.
meet that back
Used
lot.
to be a
And-
potato barn.
Yeah, and another concern we have is just, you know, I mean, from a business perspective, Audi and BMW are our neighbors, and we'd be asking, you know, customers, people who are test driving a vehicle, to kind of exit through their back lots, which ideally we wouldn't have to do, but we completely understand if safety is top priority, you know?
Well, didn't we just say that's a vacant lot immediately to the west, and then I think that's Hampton Coffee?
Well, it's an
To
old
the other
BMW
side.
building.
BMW.
This is,
That's
I
not-
believe Audi, this is BMW.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
an old BMW building. They've moved
Okay.
out to the other side.
Currently that lot is being used for the auto dealer to park cars there. And
Yeah.
one of
Yeah,
our
the vacant
intents
lot.
may be to actually continue to sublet that lot to them, just as the owner is doing now.
Who's the tenant?
Tenant for today is patio.com.
Patio.com?
Yeah.
No, of the,
Oh,
of
the
vacant
well,
lot.
right now, it looks like BMW has
Just a
their
sublease in
inventory
place.
kind of parked there, which
As a parking lot, as a car storage.
Yep.
You know, let me jump in with, I think,
Sure.
the larger issue, and this is just speaking for myself, is we have to make a finding, if you look on the special exception standard number D, the site is particularly suitable for the location of such a use in the town. This is an auto-dependent use. It's centered around automobiles. This is probably one of the most problematic intersections we have in the town. I don't know that we can meet that standard. If you look at the prior standard, it, number C, it speaks about, number B, it also speaks about the reasonable expansion of the use thereof. Special exception uses require that extra standard, that extra hurdle, and we have to make findings that your use is suitable for that site. The irony here is, for years, it was a gas station. I mean, this is going back, I mean,
Yeah.
my institutional memory, it
Yeah.
was a Sunoco station.
Traffic was.
This is, yeah,
The world
I
was
remember when there
different.
was no traffic like this. There was no car dealerships,
Sure.
it was a country crossroads. There used to be an old phone booth at the intersection, but the area's changed, and I don't know that you can meet that standard. And and that's,
So,
it's a great, we support charging, electric vehicles, we mandate them on our site plans, but this might not be the right site for you.
Understood. What is the demo drives of the cars that is causing
It's
the
the fact that
concern?
your use, in other words, it's not like a real estate office or something. Your use is basically about cars. Cars coming in, cars coming out. I'm pulling into charge. Oh my gosh, all the charges unused. I'll come back. I got to get out of here. I got errands to run. I'll try again. It's centered around automobile. The C of O you secure would be auto dealership. Is that correct? So in 5 years, someone's going to be waving a C of O getting us. Hey, we want to have some display. We have a C of O for auto dealerships. It's an auto-dependent use. That's the hurdle this board has to overcome.
Kevin, is their engineer available on Zoom?
Or attorney, I guess.
Or
too.
attorney?
Madam Chair, can you
So-
hear me?
because this is where you want to be and there could be
Hello?
a viable use, we've spent years developing cross-access
Sure.
routes. The idea is to unburden exits and entrances onto County Road 39 and 27. And so it is a viable option for you to get your vehicles out in a much safer way. Yes, right in, not a problem. But to get out and to be further west is a much safer
Even if
route.
people are coming out, like from the city.
Well, they're on the other lane,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just go up to a signal if you want to go east and turn around. We all do that. I mean, the only way you deal with traffic here is to never make a left turn. You make a right turn, go up to a signal or a cross street where you can make a turn. So, D, if you're not complying with that, but if you were to amend your application to say, okay, we're going to actually execute the cross-access, then it's a different matter. The complexion of it is different.
Do you know how that looks from a timing perspective? Because right now we're at a very critical juncture, and which also kind of decides the viability of the project from us as a business.
Yeah, I wish we had the benefit of a pre-submission conference because this would all surface in a report.
Well, we had a work session.
We
had a
did
work session.
work session, yeah.
It's a type 2, in theory, it's a type 2 in action.
Madam Chair,
So
can
it
we
doesn't
be heard?
Yes.
Oh, yes,
That's Joe, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't require
Thank you.
a pre-submission
Let me,
conference.
if I could just jump in, we have our engineers on. I'm the applicant's attorney. I just wanted to just bring to light a couple of issues, and Justin and the Rivian team have already spoken to this briefly, but the traffic indications identify that based on the 6 chargers, this is going to be a low intensity generator as opposed to the retail that's there today or another similar type use. And the justification of restricting those movements to right in, right out, our team feels that would be the appropriate restriction to address your concerns from a safety perspective. The county has weighed in on the bypass, and they've agreed with, frankly, the recommendation of this body back in April to close that bypass driveway. So to go back to the county and suggest that we, have another access point further down, I don't feel is a
It's not access. The cross access is an exit, not an access. The access is where you've indicated. On 27.
Yep, understood, but I'll defer to the engineers as to whether or not the county would be willing to have more traffic put on that roadway. But I just wanted to, again, we were before this body in the work session in April, and we followed the recommendations to close that driveway, to have all traffic utilize the one remaining driveway to the site. And with the restriction that we proposed, there really is no further restrictions that could be envisioned here. It's the most restrictive. But let me just turn it over for 1 minute to the engineers. I don't want to testify as an engineer. I'm not an engineer, but I just wanted to remind the body that we did participate, and we heard your concerns loud and clear, and that was the reason why we pursued the closure of the bypass driveway. But anyway, Rob and Corey, if you could just speak to this issue briefly, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, Joe. As Joe mentioned,
Just give us your name for the record, sorry.
Apologies. I'm Corey Chase with Dynamic Traffic. As Joe, and I'm Rivian's traffic consultant. As Joe mentioned, we did hear the concerns that were raised by the town previously relative to having the driveway on the ramp from Route 27 to the bypass, and we agreed to close that. As part of the discussions at the last meeting, we understood the town's concern relative to having left turn access occur at the current driveway location on Route 27 relative to the proximity to the intersection, as well as the two-way traffic volume that is currently existing along that roadway. And certainly the volume has increased during the summer months. So as part of our agreement at the last meeting, we agreed to restrict that driveway to just right in and right out turning movements. We have submitted to the New York State DOT. We did actually get comments back from them. They were amenable to us leaving the driveway as a full access driveway. They didn't require us to propose any restrictions, but we certainly heard the town's concerns loud and clear, and we're willing to make that concession and restrict that driveway to just right in, right out movements. And as Justin and Joe both mentioned, it is a low volume use that's going to be occupying this site. It's Rivian customers utilizing the charging facilities, utilizing the charging outpost. It's not a high turnover use similar to fast food or a convenience store with gas station, or even another retail, commercial use, which would certainly see a much higher volume than what we're really proposing here. So, based on the restrictions that we're proposing, based on the intensity of the use, we think that this site can function safely and efficiently with that right in, right out driveway.
Corey, have we seen the traffic analysis anybody can answer the question, have we seen the traffic analysis where it says 23 trips during critical peak hours? Have we seen that document?
Yeah, that was, and Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was previously submitted to the town.
Yeah, that's correct. There was a traffic statement that was part of the initial submission.
Yes, it was like 3 or 4 pages.
Can you maybe resend that to me or to everybody? I'd like to see that. And with regard to the divider that you show on this latest drawing, is that a hard divider or is that painted? What do you envision on that? Because that's in the state right away, and I have seen occasions where dividers have been put in by private developers. In the case I'm thinking of, the county permitted it and then the county took it out because they didn't want it, Right. So you do show that divider, right? Those would be questions for me. Is it hard? Is it painted? Is it in the state right away? I didn't see anything. I think we saw the letter from the state DOT, which talked about the driveway, but I don't remember anything about that divider.
That's sort of something we've added based on kind of feedback that we've heard from you guys. I think we're open to whatever. I think what the intention there was to control that traffic
Right in, right out.
Instead of just having a sign and having it painted.
Which I can appreciate that,
Yeah.
but
I
think
yeah,
that would also
very roughly
obviously
sketched
need
it.
right. That would obviously need state approval because you're in
Yeah.
there right away when you're doing that, or you have to move it back onto your property.
Yeah, we can move it back.
Teresa, now that Claire is here, maybe we can provide some guesstimate as to a cross-access agreement in terms of, they asked about timing, because they are clearly trying to, expedite this. So Claire, do you have any sense of that?
So the question is whether you could phase it?
Actually create and execute cross-access that we talked about.
They own the adjacent property.
They own the adjacent
where the
property and control
cross-access would have to be established.
Leasing.
Oh, okay.
So it'd have to get ownership approval.
And then the problem would be that they would, you wouldn't have to do it prior to your building permit, it would just have to be completed prior to any COs that are issued. That is typical.
They would need owners
So-
place.
They wanna do
I
it,
guess-
if it proves to be an issue. Like, they wanna do it not without it, give you the agreement that comes to fruition if they find, it's like land bank parking, like they're banking
Oh,
the
if you find that
easement.
there's a traffic issue.
Yeah.
What would be the measurement?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
I'm
think
just trying to think
the,
about
the
what
initial
makes sense.
discussion that we had offline was, I think that there's some concern, like you said, if it's a category of auto dealership, if a new tenancy were to come in, or if we were to expand in some manner, then that would trigger the discussion and require that we consider that as an option, right? But because of our use being, the low intensity, we're comfortable, and we kind of built a case around that. We're comfortable with it as is, but if we were to, trigger that threshold, it would
So-
require a conversation again.
The question is, how do we measure it? Like, Corey, Joe, do you guys have any, have
Sure.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. I could speak and then I'll turn it over to Corey. What we've done is sort of a post-occupancy analysis and review in conjunction and collaboration with the town police to determine whether or not there's been any issues, whether or not there's any incidents, reports, or the like. And the board could set that timing, whether it's 6 months after occupancy, 12 months, and there's an analysis done. And if there's an issue determined, then the cross-access would have to be engaged. But again, that's just from the legal perspective. I'll defer it to Corey and to Rob on the engineering aspect. But it's not uncommon, and I think your council mentioned land bank parking. It's very similar, where you have it if you need it, but you don't construct it because the thought is that it's such a low intensity use now, and to the point that was made, if there's a future expansion, then that would trigger, that would be a threshold. But we could also agree on milestones after opening to have a collaborative review with the town professionals, engineer, and traffic safety. But Corey and Rob, is that typically your experience with something that's done post-occupancy?
Yeah, that's consistent with my experience, Joe. Typically, it's anywhere from 6 to 12 months after the CO is issued to get the business some time to establish typical volumes. So go out there and capture it. Obviously, we look to do it during a peak season as well. We wouldn't do it during off-peak. And then we submit a summary report comparing what the site's actually generating to what we had projected it would generate, and we could revisit the cross-access at that time.
The problem is we have to provide for the expansion now. Special exception standard B says a reasonable anticipated operation and expansion. So we can't segment. You have to tell us, we have to find that not only is it suitable now, which I don't feel it is, but it's suitable, but your provision for expansion as well. It's right in the statute.
Would we have to come back in front of the board though if we were to expand?
We have to
Would
make
that
that
be a whole
finding
thing?
now,
They have to
that
make
like,
that
determination.
not only here's your use, but how would you expand this?
See, that's part of the
It
special
requires
exception
we do that.
standards, it's the code.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not something
in the
we're making
statute.
up, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I trust that.
Yeah.
You're not making it
In
up.
fairness to you, on all honestly, I can't think of any special exception use that would be suitable for this site. Just whether, meditation center, I don't know.
So I guess
Can
really
we talk about the previously approved plan?
Yeah, really
Just to use it as
sure.
an example.
Yeah, I mean the landlord provided us with a previously approved development
From 2017.
2013, I think.
13.
It's
A
pretty
decade.
old.
Okay.
But
It was
retail.
severely increased
It was a
use.
retail permitted use.
And it was like I mean, it was 15,000 square feet.
Can
So
you
was
go
there-
back on the overhead to see what the conditions were at that time? Like go back in time
You mean pull up the
for 2013.
pull up
also-
the approved development? Is that what you're looking for?
Well,
Oh.
did the
Called
traffic
Cherry Lane.
patterns
It
change
was
at all?
for the outdoor, it was for the furniture use, the permitted use.
Patio.com.
In the zone, you had an extensive review as a type 1 action with the traffic study.
11 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, but the original
It's
one was
quite-
even older.
Quite out of date.
So,
But we're not
2007?
We're not type 1.
20, and yes, I know, that's the state designation for possible environmental review,
Sure.
right? So the planning board's using the standards of site plan and special exception standards now to review it. So, I mean, just state, you're right, but it is way expired on the property.
Expired, but just it was just brought up to show that there was other opportunities here that were never developed, and because we do control both lots right now, we do not plan on doing something extensive to that degree. So us going in there right now actually.
Yeah, we're not expanding the footprint.
Right.
The use per the like initial traffic study, like we said, isn't really intensifying. And I get that, you know, the use itself isn't creating a massive increase in volume of traffic. So I guess what I'm getting at is what's existing is pretty much what we're proposing. We're just proposing to actually make that intersection more safe.
The use is automotive, though. It's automotive.
Sure, but the use, the intensity, like the volumes of traffic that it produces per Corey, you can probably speak better to this, aren't significantly more than the current use, if that makes sense.
Well, the current use, they've been hardly any business there now. But I had a question also. You'll be doing test driving, you said, right, of vehicles? So you're gonna come out, say you have right in, right out, right? So you go right, take people for a drive. How are you gonna get back in?
Circle around so we do a right in. I think we can put together like a proposed test drive route if that helps as well. We've had to do that for
I was just
other
curious.
planning. For sure, yeah, yeah.
That's pretty standard with car dealerships.
Yeah.
I've worked with car dealerships.
Especially in that area, right?
Right.
Make a right, go this way, make a right.
Go all the way around.
They have a preset route they take every client on.
So you're gonna have essentially two uses, right? One is people coming to park to charge.
Yep.
And then you have your test drives.
Yeah.
Are those test drives and visits to be done by appointment, or people can just stop in?
Appointment. It's
So-
all appointment only.
So
yeah.
you can schedule your appointments and not looking to limit whatever you're proposing too much, but outside of peak hour traffic, 9 to 3 or?
we could control that. I mean, honestly, this is not one of our major like sales driving locations. It's mainly meant to be charging and like an amenity for charging. It's more of a brand experience, and so we aren't going to be doing like a heavy volume of drives out of here like we would be doing out of a typical hub, what we call our sort of typical retail center.
Basically, the majority of our customer base comes from the city, and they purchase in Brooklyn, and they summer out here, is what we're noticing. So having a charging amenity out here is what's driven us
Right.
to look for that location, and again, make it, that's why we don't need a large location, 2,000 square foot building, we can keep it as is. We put in our level 3 charging, and it's just more for the experience, playground and whatnot. It's like a little playground.
So we see these pocket charging stations from Tesla all over the place. That just behind Watermill shops, they opened one. If it's just for charging, I would think you have a lot of
Just to
options.
keep in mind, we did give them approval to install, interim approval to install the charging. This is
Yes.
for the, essentially what is a waiting room.
Yeah.
For people who are charging, so that they can come charge their car for an hour, and they're not sitting in their car in the hot sun
Yeah.
for an hour.
It's a typology that isn't very common right now, but we're trying to do more of them. We just opened our first one in Groveland, California, actually in July, which has been a huge success. Has about the same amount of charging at it, and it's on a super busy road that goes into Yosemite. So summertime is pretty crazy for them as well.
You did say in the work session, though, that though it was for Rivian now, that you might make it more generic and open it up
Yes.
and maybe add more charging stations.
I-
So that's B of the special
Sure.
exception
Yeah.
standards.
Yeah.
We need to have some fix on an expansion in terms of approving a site with these standards, so.
Could we authorize, do you want to authorize the site plan contingent on right-in, right-only, and future cross-access? At which point, if they come in to expand the charging capabilities, we can enact the cross-access? Is that something that you might want to consider? Is that something, what do you think?
You mean pin it to that as a point?
The bigger issue, I think, is the use as car dealership to
Mhm.
what Dennis was saying. You know, if you have a CO as a car dealership, even though that's not how
Sure,
you're using
sure.
it, that's the use classification, which is a big deal that's not suitable for that
Sure.
site.
Yeah.
So are there the pop-up charging stations, is there a different use classification that could be used?
I think we still want to do these demonstration drives out of the site though, which I think is, even though they're very limited, we don't want to close that option off because like honestly, there's not enough traffic from a sales perspective for us to even do that many out here, to be honest.
And to clarify though, the demo drives are simply demo drives. If you decide you want to purchase the car, it's still
You
an
don't buy it
outside
there.
purchase on your online on your own time. It's
No,
not something.
there's no
that-
discussion of cost.
There's no exchange or discussions of
Right,
dollars
so
and
that's what I'm
cents, and
saying, is
it's-
there a
it's
different
tough classification.
use classification that
It's
can
an,
be
it's
used?
an automotive use.
It's
Yeah.
an automotive use as determined by the chief building inspector, who is the chief
Okay.
interpreter of
Right.
So let's go back to
Sure.
cross-access, okay? I mean, let's not beat a dead horse, but you own that, or you control that property next to you, which is an opportunity to not impact 27, but get out on 39. And so I don't know how we can figure, Claire, cost, that's up to them, right? How long it would take them to pave an area, to just go through. We have cross-access behind,
We have cross-access from this lot to this lot, and this lot to this lot, and future cross-access already enacted on this lot to this lot. So there's
Okay,
there's
so it's right behind
agreement in place saying
BMW.
that they agreed to provide cross-access to this parcel.
right,
So we don't have one from here to here, and then this would need to be executed.
right, with you, because you're the controlling interest on that lot. And then your cross-access would come out on 39. I mean, to me, it's an option that might alleviate D. What do you think, Dennis?
I don't know.
It's tricky, you know?
It's a hurdle I just can't overcome.
Is there a way that we can align to sort of what Teresa was suggesting, and maybe there's another way that we track volumes, you know, because I think what's really tricky is like I get what all of you guys are saying about it, you know, the use being automotive dealership or sales, but you know, we won't be doing that out of here. We don't really, you know, it's just not a desire of ours, and I know that I can say that all I want in this venue, but is there a way that we can sort of track volumes, like with
You can rent a counter and put it,
and
put it
like,
across the driveway.
and then if you guys start seeing concerns with like the volumes that we're bringing in, I don't know, because I think what's really tricky about this also is it's a use that's not typical, right? Like charging stations, like you said, are either in the back lot of a grocery store.
Yeah.
There's not ever
They're
an
pop-ups
amenity
all over.
associated with it that's doing
Mhm.
drives, and so it's hard to pinpoint it. But we definitely wanted to pursue that auto sales, just because of the demonstration drive opportunity. And so, I mean, I think we could agree to, you know, limiting demo drives to certain times. I think that we can.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna be
think
That's hard.
You know,
I think we can
yeah,
track
I mean,
volumes.
our charges here, no pun intended, are conflicting. Our charge as a board is planning, very, you know, reasonable planning for the future. The what if of, you know, not establishing a cross access with this site, and, you know, to have to go
mean-
back and police that later as a, you know, it's just, I don't feel that that is responsible
Mhm.
I
planning.
mean, if the burden
to-
falls on us to police
But it
though,
doesn't.
no.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't know how enforceable that would be.
Yeah. It's a
Do you have any
limitation
data on this other outpost that you have
I
in
could
Yosemite?
probably pull some, yeah. I mean, it's very
You said it was
new.
busy.
It started in July, yeah. But it's on a very, very small site. And similar to this, like where there's not, you know, a lot of.
Just out of curiosity, my apologies, the cross access, is it the permitting that's extremely lengthy? What's the concern here?
Well,
I'm just asking, I think, I just look at you, Claire, I apologize,
No,
cause
that's okay. So you do have to design it. You'd have to design it, and town engineer would have to review it. But no, you could come up with a plan and we could look at it right away.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Right
believe,
away.
at the end of the day, the site plan can't be approved until the town engineer has approved the plans anyway. anyway, and you're still in that process, so.
We'd have to have a hearing because it is,
Special.
triggering the one from the west, obviously. So they would be put on notice, here's the plan, this is going to be implemented, but they have the parking lot pretty much adjacent to it, not too far, 2 feet, 5 feet from
And they'll have
something
to, they'll have to find a legal easement on
They
that.
have
Yes.
there'll be an illegal easement at the end of the day. So it does take some time,
Yeah.
but, the triggering to allow you to start it, probably a couple months.
A couple of months. And could we do building permit concurrently with that?
Yes,
But we would not be able to operate until that was approved.
the
Oh.
CO would be
See
issued.
about the building permits, they want permits before all this is secured.
No, you would say, they would design a draft, right? This is where the cross access is going. Then they would engineer it, we could go through that part, we could have the
But they would
hearing
have to secure the legal agreements.
prior to
Meanwhile,
the
they'd
CO.
have the permits underway and like, oh, this.
The legal
party-
agreements is that they actually use
I mean,
the
it would be with
property.
the same,
They'd have to execute the legal agreements. In other words, you can't have building underway, construction underway in anticipation that these agreements are gonna be secured. If one of them falls through, then what do we do? You've got shovels, what they call shovel in the ground.
Yep.
Which vests you certain rights to the site.
Well, you would have owner's endorsements for the
Yeah, we'd have to have your
But
owner's
the actual
endorsement.
agreements would have to be secured and executed.
The
before.
agreements for the cross access
Yeah.
from the neighbor,
Yeah,
uh,
I mean,
I think it's been
unless,
proven that we.
unless one of them fell through, you can't anticipate you're gonna have a legal agreement secured.
but
If agreements fall through, there's.
the only cross access we'd be pursuing is between the two lots that our landlord owns, right?
So
The other
it would
ones
be-
are
You'd
already
have a future
established.
cross-access
Pointing to
agreement
the
on one of them, correct?
Yes,
So
you
you'd be
have a-
converting
Sorry.
that.
You have a
Right.
covenant.
They have to do it.
They're gonna have to do it.
Yes.
So I
We
think,
have a covenant on this one, you would need to execute a covenant, an agreement on this one to this one,
Oh,
and this
gotcha.
one to this one.
Gotcha.
But,
Okay.
you can start drafting those documents now, right? Those are fairly standard documents, and Christine can help you, and those documents can be drafted and almost 100%, approvable and ready to file by the time we get the site plan approved.
I guess I have one last question. If we did the cross access from the current patio.com site to the vacant lot behind, and then, just for argument's sake, had paved and then utilized that, that curb cut out of that lot, would that satisfy your traffic concerns because it's significantly further from the intersection than the current right out?
That's
is
what,
kind of in the
where we
current-
started, what Jackie was saying.
I
Oh.
apologize. I guess
Yeah.
I guess
Oh,
I
I
misunderstood that earlier.
And that's, I think the attorney misinterpreted that too, because it wouldn't be speaking to DPW at Suffolk County because it's an existing curb cut.
Right.
And you'd have,
You have a right to it.
legal right to traverse the property that you're in to the one that your landlord owns, and there's already a cross access and agreement to
that we
get
could execute
there.
between
Right,
ourselves.
just
Yeah.
press go on that.
Okay. Yeah,
So that's really the viable path forward where you
Yeah.
started from the beginning.
Existing
Yes.
lot and that existing curb cut with the cross access,
You'd have-
but then
you've
you
got
would
it.
still request, I apologize, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry,
I
I
would
thought,
just say to still request a right in only, but not a right out on, I'm sorry, the major.
You'd go out the cross-access
You'd go out the
exit.
cross access.
There'd be no exit on the Montauk Highway side.
Correct,
Right.
okay.
But you make a
Oh,
right
one
out
way
on
in.
the
One way in,
existing.
one way
Only
out.
right in, and then you're
One
out
right
at the end of the cross-access.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, we have to make findings that this is a suitable location for your use. I'm standing by my comments. You don't have a full board. You're gonna spend a lot of time and burn a lot of effort to securing these if it's not gonna work.
So when could we get a determination? I think that's the big question
I
here, because
believe-
we
We don't have a full board. I
We're-
don't feel it meets standard B and D. In order to get approval, it would have to meet those two standards.
So is this?
Would you be willing, or
Sorry.
is it possible to do any kind of restrictions in terms of, to help quell the automotive use concern, like
It
restrictions?
is an automotive use.
No, but I'm saying to shy away from future tenants, like, restrictions on storage of vehicles on the lot or anything
Well,
along that.
It's an automotive use, though. It's not like metal fabrication.
So Sorry.
Cars in, cars out, more cars in, more cars out.
Going back to timing, I just want to be super clear that like we are, like I said, like very much under the gun. We've been in discussions now since March, and we just want a path.
You want to know where you're
toward-
going.
Yeah, like we want to understand if this is possible, what we need to do to make that possible.
It's frustrating because we love your use. We're all behind.
I know, and we're
Rivian
super
actually
excited
is
to be
great.
here, and we
Great
love that
vehicles,
site.
great.
I mean,
I think you could find a site that would be more appropriate. I don't know.
Does the rest of the board feel that way?
I understand the difficulties here, and you know, looking down the road for automotive, are we impacting that corner? That's the problem. Looking ahead, with any kind of an expansion, you could sell the lot. You know, you've got the determination for the lot, and so what do we get? Another car dealership in there, which would not, even though there are car dealerships around, they're not at that corner. So it is a problem.
This might be a totally dumb question.
Yeah,
but if
ask it.
if we were to like vacate the lot and a dealership did come in and they wanted to expand, would you like? Would you just? They would have to come in front of you again, right? And potentially you guys would require additional access points, right? Because we've already technically received the determination on the automotive use. And so I guess does my question make sense?
No, you have, that your use is automotive, you have not gotten a determination that.
It's
you
okay.
can do it.
Got you, okay, gotcha.
Right, different.
If you met these standards.
You have to
would
meet
that
these
use.
standards.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
You've seen these standards?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wish there were another site.
And I think we as a board have to consider what other possible uses
Could be there.
would we can ever consider
Would this-
appropriate.
Well, there's a whole host of I sent Teresa an email, a whole host of permitted uses for that site. I don't know if the landlord's rep is here, but I'm sure there are uses. It's highway business. Claire could probably tick them off.
Right.
Permitted.
Not a lot.
But in
So
terms of
most
traffic
them are
But
generation.
would they face the same
Permitted.
issues of traffic?
Permitted is permitted.
Permitted.
We look at landscaping, we look at lighting. We don't have to meet these extra standards that special exception requires. They're
That's
permitted.
because it's not a permitted use.
It's not permitted.
And there's no future, I mean, we've spoken to, speak to many boards across the country, and this is a very normal conversation to have, unfortunately. There's no future outlook for this particular board to make some sort of charging use or anything along those lines that falls outside of what, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, as I've said before, I can't think of a special exception use that
that lands
would
in this.
would meet these standards for that site.
I just wonder, to just do some creative thinking, how you could use the other lot, the second lot, for something to take away a burden on the corner. I mean, I'm just thinking, because you have that property.
Would it, I mean,
In control of that property.
Put some charging stations on that.
You still have to get people in and out of it. It's the same issue.
Mhm.
It's the
Exactly.
same issue. You know,
It comes up periodically. We have sites. We had a few years back. We had a landscaping site in Hampton Bays. It was a long, narrow strip. And how are you going to get the tractor trailers in there? There's no way to turn it around. You'd have to back them out on Montauk Highway. It didn't meet the standards. I'd hate for you to put a lot of effort and time into making this fit,
Okay.
making this work.
It's 4 o'clock, so we
Yeah.
have to move along. And
So
can,
this is just for discussion, and we're not adopting the report tonight. My understanding is that you would prefer to see the cross access, correct?
well, I think
Right now,
that
there's
that's,
nothing before us. But there again, I hate to be like the
So
Wizard of
before
Oz.
we go down
Well,
the
Spend
no,
2
you
months
have-
and come across access and.
I mean, I think the applicant's trying to find out from the board whether they need to go to that trouble if it's a dead
Yeah.
issue. You know, that's,
Exactly.
I mean, to be blunt, I think that's what you're trying to find out.
Yeah.
Is it-
Ideally.
Right.
Like we
I mean,
do.
yeah.
I'm trying to be transparent.
Yeah, this
we
is
we
not-
appreciate that because
Yeah.
the reality is like, you know, being open for the high season.
Great
is
use,
the,
terrible
is the, I think, ideal goal.
And I'd
It's
like
not a
to,
good
But
site.
some of the other
I'd like to
sites,
look
some
at
of
that
the,
For this
traffic
purpose, for this use.
analysis
some of the
before
other
we make it,
uses are
before
also
I
gonna
make a
generate
decision.
traffic. I mean,
Yes,
so
but as I
we'll
said
have-
like a
before,
full
special
traffic
exception uses, I can't see.
No,
that.
No,
They got-
Oh,
At
gotcha.
least as a
They have
start.
that.
So you have to
I
have
don't
a
remember
permitted
reading
use
it, and
is
I'm
what
usually
you're
pretty
saying.
good about reading those
Wonderful.
things, so I
Yeah,
want to
we
make it right.
Okay, I'll send it over and then I guess we'll have some additional discussion at our
And-
next meeting.
And then maybe if you can give us any data you have from the site you just opened in July, so your trip
Yeah,
generation.
I'll
Yeah,
collect that
do
for you
that.
guys for sure. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, really quickly, when is the next?
It's October 24th,
October 24th, okay.
and that is the action deadline, and I think we're getting a message from a couple of the board members that are not comfortable with the application as designed right now.
So the October, that's the 62 days,
That's the 60 days.
and that's sort of yay or nay.
Right, correct.
Okay,
And we'll discuss this with you afterwards.
of course, yeah.
But we need to get you before the plan.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your guys'
Yes,
time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks
Thank you,
on
everyone in
Zoom.
the back.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's just real quick, it's
Yeah,
like
okay.
30 seconds to schedule a public hearing.
Yeah. That's number 15. We're jumping to 15. Oh, this is a conundrum. This is another conundrum.
I don't see that as a deal issue, because there's no repairs.
At a work session.
I know.
That we should have been way then. Okay, 15, Kim Lester.
Kim Lester, this is the application for boat storage on the
Oh, yeah.
waterfront business site. We had had a meeting about this previously. The application is now complete. We have tentatively scheduled it for public hearing on December 12th, if that is your pleasure.
So what's our action here? To
It would
schedule
be
it?
Deem the application complete and schedule it for a public hearing for December 12th.
Okay.
I'll move it.
Motion by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor, to December 14th. 12th, sorry.
So many days, so little time.
Such a good Hi, Carl.
Good evening.
Okay, this is,
Cover every base.
This is the site plan,
it's a very
the site plan for Farrow Leather Lane subdivision that was approved back in April, right? Conditionally approved?
Caught up in a special exception sign.
It was August? Okay. I am playing Anthony today.
That's nice.
That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
This is the, staff reports and there's another one.
I got it. Oh, I can.
That's okay.
and the resolution. So are you familiar with the site plan? Is this for Three
We're familiar.
storage buildings, yeah? Over 3 parcels.
This is actually,
That's right.
Yep.
Remember we changed it, we got an amendment to the variance, it's 3 parcels.
oh, 4 buildings, I'm sorry.
They're all gonna be
Yes.
interconnected.
So it's a self-storage facility.
right,
There a little bit of outdoor storage proposed. And I just do wanna show you the elevations also. Cause I thought they did a good job.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
the ARB is
conventional.
Very like
Yeah.
them very much.
Carl, you've been to the site? They're not excavating, are they?
Not that I'm aware of. Which is the truth, I'm not aware of it.
Oh, wow.
Part information, I believe.
People have to start buying some of the stuff in this
Not
place
to the
store,
site.
myself included.
one, the elevations.
Last page.
Is it?
I can see.
It's the nice one? It's the
I
rendering?
don't know. It looks like it.
Oh yeah, that's not the good one.
You want the renderings or the?
I want the nice view.
The front from the,
Oh, next-
from
yes,
Butter.
I see it on the next page.
No. Oh, this one.
The front elevation.
That's one of them, right? Is it? It's one of them. That's it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so that's one, right? And this is the second one.
These are, each for different buildings, so this is the front for this building. You want to- Should
Yeah.
we show them?
No, you won't.
Entertaining.
So that's one.
So the front elevations are the top one.
Yeah.
So that's one building. That's another.
It's like folding
And
laundry.
that's the third, yeah.
That's the third, and there's one more.
No, well, we don't care about the back
Oh,
one.
you don't care about that.
Right, do you?
ARB liking?
ARB is very much.
There you
like
go.
this.
Oh,
So,
Oh, so they-
is that the
Oh,
same?
that's a much better.
oh,
Where are the renderings?
They're unusual for storage facilities.
They look?
Yeah.
Is there actually a second floor, or?
yes.
Mhm.
There's
And
the
they have
smaller,
windows.
those smaller units where you just
Oh,
have
right.
the walk-up.
Okay.
And there's one office.
Okay, so it's 4 self-storage buildings, total gross floor area, 156,000 square feet. This is 225 and 251 Butter Lane, obviously subject to that subdivision I spoke about. And then the lot number 1 has the 96,573 square feet, 43 parking spaces. And then the remaining ones are described on the property. Public hearing, April 25th, 2024, 10-day written comment period. I don't think there's any public comments, right? Okay. The planning board adopted a negative declaration on November 16th, 2023. Phase 1B was submitted and no further archaeological work was recommended. So the town engineer is the one remaining issue here. You're okay with if the planning board just adopt this today, then whatever his conditions are, you'll meet?
That'll be fine. Yes.
Okay. Is that okay with the board? In that case? Okay.
There's always drainage issues here, big drainage
Yeah.
issues.
Exactly. So, fire permission, prevention, typical conditions, street numbers, that the drainage dry well rings support heavy apparatus, dumpsters shall be enclosed, key docks are required, loading zones shall have appropriate space and markings and signage, fire zones noted, those are the verbiage, and installation of fire hydrants on the property. Fire hydrants shall be installed on the west side of the south traffic island between lot number 1 and 2. And then additional fire and life safety concerns addressed during the formal building permit applications. No issues with the fire hydrant requirements, right?
No.
And architecture review board approved it, highway approved it. And then, it's a local determination, I just have to get the dates on that one. This issue, general special exception standards, these are the general ones, so that, you know, the parking is one of the things that they've met, so I'm not gonna go through this one, I'll go through the more specific ones. That is 33162.4.
Page 6.
Page 6, yep, on page 6. The requirement is that it be for dead storage only, and that's what they've said in their application.
That's great.
So B is rental contracts to include clauses, and they'll have to include the appropriate language. Interior parking lanes shall be provided adjacent to the storage units, so they'll have to do that. I think that's been double checked
Yeah.
here. And then interior maneuvering lanes should be provided, that also has to be provided on the property. 4 spaces shall be provided in the front or in close proximity to the manager's office. And that is also provided on the site plan. Required parking shall not be rented or used for outdoor outside vehicle storage. But they can put some type of storage outside, including boats, recreational vehicles. So,
It's in the back lot, there was that outdoor storage area.
that's shown on the plan.
It is,
Yeah.
So how much square footage is it noted?
It's noted on the plan, I don't know.
Here you go.
On the IGA.
Yeah, but here.
That's the landscape plan.
See this? It's 1.428, 1,428 square feet. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's one on this lot that's 1,045. So there's 2 outdoor storage areas, one just under 1,430 square feet and one just over 1,000 square feet.
1,000.
1,045.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that in there, and then, the standard here says proposed outside parking shall be for customer use only and shall be rented and utilized. Outdoor storage areas are limited to those areas shown on the approved plans and not within the designated parking stalls, so we've got those areas that I'm gonna note in the staff report. Do we wanna specify like what type of, like, we should just say recreational vehicles? Do you think that's a good catch-all?
We don't want boats on trailers.
Well, that's one of the.
Boats on
Because
trailers
that's,
can happen.
because they have boat storage. Are we limiting the number of boats that they have there?
Just to the small outdoor areas.
Just by square footage.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you said you weren't doing like lifts,
Oh, no.
like a two
No.
two
We'd have to
level.
come back to you for that. But no, that's not the plan.
Okay, so I'll just note recreational vehicles in that case. I think that's part of the conditions, so I wanna mention it. And then, G is the proposed building will fully enclosed structure, accessible only through the use of proprietary PIN number issued to each customer tenants. Landscape plan, so the only thing with the landscape plan, I made some comments and I'm not quite sure if it's included
Anthony
in the
had some
decision.
comments too.
Well, we spoke about it.
Yeah.
so-
On the
Oh,
front, the
okay.
butter, the butter lane.
Yes, this is not the latest plan, is it? There was a version that had like additional plantings. This is it.
We wanted to replace the common boxwood.
Come,
With
street
inkberry?
trees.
Yeah, we thought inkberry would be better.
Or you.
So this is the latest plan. It's got a row of boxwoods here, and that would be appropriate if you're kind of screening parking and you were close, because you want the sight distances. But in this case, there's a fence in this area. They're securing the area in the back. It's a 6-foot fence, and we want to screen that. So we thought inkberry, because it gets
No problem.
5-6 feet tall, would
Oh,
screen
yeah,
it very effectively along this road. So either bringing it up just the whole thing,
Yeah.
inkberry. Okay.
We can't get a street tree here?
Oh yeah, all these are
Some
street
trees?
trees.
They're all
all
trees.
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, and it's a nice distance. It looks like 50
Yeah.
feet
Good.
apart, so that's great. Otherwise, it's gonna be long, and but this will nicely screen this parking here and then the fencing, which
Nice.
yeah. So that was what I thought. So I'll make those notes on the staff report. I think they're in the conditions. Forming light plan. I think he's double checked that. Just want to make sure everything's 3,000 Kelvin and less, right? I'll have that as a condition.
That's no problem.
And then the
Do you have
sign-
are these on poles or on the buildings?
You know, let's see. This is the latest. Oh, look at, there's elevations. I'm gonna have to use the big ones. I'm not quite sure, I don't.
Do you have a lighting plan?
in front of me.
There's a lighting plan that was submitted. Yeah. Do you not have it with you?
No,
There's
I
another
was trying to
pile
be-
there.
I was trying to be.
You were so easy and convenient to work with.
That's Tim.
L1.
There it is.
There it is.
Some poles.
Does it show the height of the poles, Charles, you know?
Well, they're limited to 10 feet.
10
right?
feet.
Are there conditions anywhere?
It reads it upside down.
It's hard to read it upside down, yeah.
Oh, here. Oh, there's the quantity.
put a condition that they're 10 feet, that's,
Yeah.
that won't be a
Yeah,
problem.
that's set in here.
Yeah.
Oh, it is already? Okay, great.
I think.
So 10 foot.
So there's the 2 fixture poles, 1 fixture pole, and then there's these affixed to
Yeah,
the.
those over the doors.
Yeah, it says it in there.
Okay, great. K is the rental, I'm sorry, I is the signage, which you don't know what that is yet, right? The signage?
No,
It'll just be
but it'll
conditional
be,
approval.
it'll be a condition of approval, yeah.
And then, K has to be with the rental size and limitations, which you have to agree to. And then no building less, exceeds 200 feet in length in this case, so they meet the requirement of just 250.
Sure.
Oh, good, here
So
comes,
it's
here comes the
300
sign plan.
per unit, no more than 4,000 per client.
How is he proposing to do these, in conditions, or just,
That was Anthony?
yeah, in this condition thing, was it
It would be a
conditions?
condition of the, if you look at the resolution, I think you have.
Just making them part of the general conditions?
Yeah, it's part of the changes, this changes the lighting plan, general conditions of approval. It's all in there.
Do you want me to spell them out? Just
Mhm.
look at, just, or do you want like a covenants, or what would you prefer on that one?
So which one? Which one?
Those conditions that say things like,
Oh, you mean
no
the
more
num-
the rentals, the
What if you
outdoor
just put it in
storage.
the, add it to the
Those
approval?
are more
resolution?
conditions, I don't know if those are covenants.
So general conditions, but I'm gonna list them a little bit more specific.
Be
Okay.
specific.
Yeah, I'm gonna list them more specific, so just so you know, take the ones that are requirements.
You got it.
Okay.
I'm making a note.
Okay, so the lighting plan we talked about, the landscape plan we talked about, it's gonna be in Berry, right?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, signage we talked about, engineering we talked about.
Or the engineers, you will comply to all the engineers,
Whatever the standards are.
even if it's increased drainage from there,
Of
because
course.
that site is,
Yeah. And, Tom's pretty thorough when it comes to that.
yeah, because the site right next to you had to put in extra drainage, because there's like a swale that goes under the overpass and to the right. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like a river.
Well, I've seen that, the pond under the train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the right, yeah.
I think that swale's on the other side of Butter. on the
Yeah,
west
it's on
side
the
of
other
Butter.
side, it comes all the way
Yeah.
down.
Feeds into Kellis Pond.
Yeah, whatever Tom.
What he says you'll do.
Okay, I think the conditions, right?
That's it.
So,
Those
let's go through
conditions.
them. Changes to the site plan, it would be per the town engineer, we'll be a little bit more specific here. The Office of Fire Prevention, provide dumpster details, provide vertical pivot gate detail, show ADA compliant access to the building, show common access easements for the subdivision approval, right? That's what, there's gonna be easements between the sites.
Yeah, that was part of the site, the subdivision approval, I believe. We already have those easements drafted, so we can submit them.
Okay, that sounds good. I guess the reference is to actually say this is an easement area on the subdivision,
You
on
want
the
that
site plan?
on the site plan?
Yeah, like a little notation, I guess that would make sense, right? And then map notation regarding outdoor storage limitations.
If you remember, the subdivision, there's one of the lots, the frontage was less than 20. And
Right.
that was contingent upon us doing this easement for
Yes,
access.
yes, yeah.
Maybe F and H are the same or similar, right? I'll put some language together.
Map notation regarding cross-access improvements. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. And then changes the lighting plan, so we'll have some of those notations. Oh, and then 10 foot above grade, it's right there.
Hard for us to read the highlight.
Yeah, it's got
I
very dark.
can't, yeah.
It's hard, it just
Use
comes
it-
out.
You
I
must
know.
use black.
Oh, you got
It comes
the
out
better one.
redacted, yeah, I know.
You just put those in italics.
Okay, so we're gonna say Inkberry, and then general conditions, the signage, the screening, HVAC, the
All the good stuff.
installation. I'm gonna put the dark skies reference.
Good.
Great.
And then then, I'll have that section with all the standards being met. Lighting, affidavits, that the owners, oh, there we go. That's good. See, it says, has a submission of an affidavit, the owners and tenants will comply with the site plan requirements.
No problem.
You're not gonna
Submission
want
affidavit that the owners and tenants. will
Yeah, you can't
comply
have
with this.
tenants submit affidavits.
I think an affidavit from the owner
Yeah, the
saying
owner.
that he'll require all tenants
Right.
as part of their lease.
Otherwise, the way it reads now, every tenant would have to submit an affidavit.
Yeah, so just an affidavit from the owner saying that he'll require in the leases with tenants.
Yeah.
Compliance with the
Right.
conditions.
Okay. Good, G, good. The limitations, I'm just gonna spell out the square footage.
Just note the two areas.
And if you need more, then you have to come back to the planning board.
Yeah.
You can add one line there too, with the limitations on rental space. Which we talked about.
Right.
As a condition.
48,
less than
yes,
4800.
you're right.
Yeah.
Less than 300 square feet.
Well, 300 square feet, no more than 4,800 square feet.
40,000.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I wanted to get in there, yeah.
300 per unit, 4,000 per customer.
Right, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
Is that 4,000
4,000 per customer.
per customer?
So you can get, I don't know how you do that.
Several units.
They don't fit into each other. You'd have to get, 15 and a half units.
Yeah, that is what you,
They could also check about it, right?
Yeah, I
I
guess.
guess
Yeah.
the idea is to limit, to not have one person.
Yeah.
okay, J is a big catch-all, and then K is the town engineer, he'll definitely have that. Town engineer approval of the final maps, submission documentation indicating legal access to the flag strip to the north. Do you think you have that, the access to the north, or no?
You're talking about to this cross
Yeah.
access? Yeah.
Okay. Review, approval, and filing cross-access easement agreements, for the subdivision approval. Well, you're gonna have to do that anyways, cause you can't stamp this plan until the subdivision's actually finalized.
Right.
So, and, the affidavit and 6 sets of plans.
And
I
on
mean,
the subdivision, the maps should be back this week. We're just waiting on health department, which we were told we'll have this week, so they should be in for signature this week.
Okay. For your consideration.
This week, it's already Thursday. Maybe
Yes.
that's a little aggressive.
It's a little unrealistic, right? Okay, any other questions?
I'll move it.
Okay, motion to approve by Dennis, second by George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's gonna come right back.
It's not 5 minutes.
You're next.
Am I next?
Oh, you're 314 North
Oh,
McGee
I
Street,
am
number
next.
8.
All right.
Yeah.
Carl Benacasa, 860 Montauk Highway, for the applicant.
I think this one has had a discussion already on it.
We had a hearing, and we had a discussion last week.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, there was a discussion on this, so I think it was just a matter of getting the wording correctly, on the recommendations. And, so if you wanna look at page 5 and we can talk about that. This is,
Backs up to Tuckahoe Woods.
this is the one that there's, some public interest, from the neighbors. This is where you have, a yield plan, this is not the yield plan, but this is the alternative they had. The yield plan was just a little shy on their square footage, of
So
compliance.
3 or 4.
I think you had a good discussion on the application, but I think there was some language you wanted to kind of refine on this one.
Will
So,
we do the strip for the trail, or is that there are a couple maps on that?
It's not the trail, there's a buffer that we're agreeing to,
Yeah, and we're gonna get-
separating the
is there
subdivision to the
another
south.
map that shows that?
Okay.
There's been a few, no,
The non-disturbance
there isn't a
buffer?
map, we were just agreeing to it.
Oh, okay.
But the trail people don't need that, do they?
The trail people
Wanted it.
but it didn't make sense, and you had,
Because they want to go out to the road or something.
yeah, but you had already denied it on a subdivision just.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I
why I
think-
think Anthony was.
And were we
recommending
keeping that,
against
that triangular piece at the front as open space, or was that being incorporated in the back? I can't remember.
I thought we were
gonna keep that in the front, leave the full in the back. If you want that to go to the back.
Oh, I think that's what, I thought he said that the open space on the eastern portion of property adjacent to the town open space, no, all of it, go to the east.
You want it all to, okay.
Yeah,
So this
that's what
piece
it
is
says.
getting.
So
taken.
my mistake,
Right,
yes,
that's-
that'll be moved.
That's what I remember,
So
because that didn't make
plan.
sense having that little piece of.
The agenda says it's action deadline September 26th. That's not correct.
It was, we extended.
Extended.
Yeah.
Extended it till now, yeah. So the first one is that the planning board notes that lot number 1 has a lot width of 116 feet wide, where 120 is the minimum required in the R40 zoning district. While this nonconformity is insignificant at 3.64 feet, the result is that this parcel has a yield of only 3 lots that conform to all dimensional standards of the R40 zoning district. Either the applicant will have to secure relief from the zoning board of appeals for the lack of the lot width, or they can provide a workforce housing lot which would eliminate the need for any zoning relief. Planning board is authorized to allow such density increase when providing affordable housing pursuant to 330-9C of the town code.
Just to know, we're submitted for that variance, we don't have a date yet.
Figured you would.
What?
Figured you would do that early.
Yeah.
The planning board preferred map is the PRD plan with the open space located in the eastern portion of the property adjacent to the existing town open space.
Yeah.
Should I say all?
If you want all open space, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
And then, I don't know, was anything else under controversy? Or do you want me to read through it all, or?
There was, the Trails Advisory Committee wanted an access point for the trails, wasn't there?
They wanted a strip
They
coming
did.
down this side, but
And
that
I
was
think-
created a
I
lot of
think
other.
both staff, the board, and applicant were all on the same page that that didn't make much sense.
Oh, okay, so,
Yeah,
well,
because there was
three,
nothing to link it up.
three was kind of important though, provide 20-foot wide naturally buffered, vegetated buffers along the southern and northern property lines, which would serve to screen the new lots from adjacent residential properties.
Yes.
You agreed to that,
That's
right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
At the time of the final application, upon further inspection of the property, a determination will be made whether any additional plantings will be necessary to supplement the existing vegetation. So, you didn't have to revise the yield map to show compliance with the cul-de-sac.
No problem.
That's just the open space application, split rail fence, the limit of, provide existing limit of clearing.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read. Was there indication that you'd want to limit clearing on the property?
Is it
Well, we
in?
have
That
all
was
that open
about the
space.
20-foot buffer, remember?
So
Um,
Yeah,
instead
we're
it was
doing
the
the
20-foot
buffer.
buffer.
And there's,
Okay.
yeah, significant
Open
reserve
space,
area.
yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying, I'm just
Mhm.
asking why there's the existing limitations, probably because the buffer, right? Okay. Removal of any encroachments and revegetation of cleared areas. The installation of construction fence that we've been doing
Did
with
they want
applications.
proposed limits of clearing or existing?
Existing,
Okay.
yep. The archaeological survey, of course, revisions. Did you wanna talk about the trails here at all?
They have an extensive.
I know you talked
request.
about it, but I don't see any conclusion related to it.
Well,
Does that
I
make
think we
sense?
determined that there was no linkage across the street, right?
There's
Right.
none. No, it would be, the trail goes right to a road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want me to say that? I think I should say it.
Yeah.
The planning board
Yeah.
discussed the trail,
Sufficient
the
access is
trail.
already established,
Yeah.
right?
And basically, you're directing people right onto North Main Street.
Terminus of a road. Yeah.
On Gate Street.
And there's nothing on the other side. They have to walk down North Main Street a ways to get to the
Yeah.
nearest connection.
And the open space is sufficient
Yeah.
to expand any trail opportunity in the area?
Mm-hmm. In Tuckahoe Woods.
Just so it notes that you considered it.
Considered
Yeah,
it.
that's
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the rest of it you reviewed before, and I think you're all good for adoption.
Okay. Motion by George, second by Dennis, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor. Thank you.
You want to just do this now, and we'll get the extension?
Claire, can we get these extensions done from 9 and 10? Cressy, Jacqueline Cressy, extension to October 24th. Motion
Motion.
by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor. Number 10, 94 Dune Road, extension to November 14th. Motion by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor.
I just wanna say something on that one, so
Yeah.
this is the, this was submitted,
Mhm.
we have it, we're reviewing it to see, and that extension is for the consideration of whether it's complete or not.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the extension that you
Right.
just granted.
And
We're
just-
taking a hard look at it.
17 is mine, so another extension if you want.
Yeah, 17. is
Jump
an
right
ex-
in there, Carl.
Number 17, Loaves and Fishes, extension to November 14th. Motion, thank you, Carl. Motion by Kate, second by
Second.
Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed,
See you,
abstentions.
Carl. Everybody.
We have 18 is an extension to October 24th.
Wow.
Motion by Kate, second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
19 is an extension to August 2025. Motion by Dennis, second by Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
20, Jane Firth, extension to October 24th. Motion by Kate, second by Dennis, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstention. And number 24 is off. So we've got a little bit of time. Okay.
Okay.
So Busso.
We're doing
Claire.
good. We're doing good.
Way to go, Chair. Usul.
Russo.
Oh, that, glass.
Hi.
Okay.
How you doing?
That time of the afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Well,
This is,
give us your name for the record.
Paul Silla.
Paul what?
Silla.
Silla?
S-I-L-L-E-R.
Nice.
Take some maybe.
Rick Wasowski, the manager.
This looks like dark chocolate. That's good.
Dark chocolate.
There's a peanut butter cups.
You have this, right? Okay, great.
Tom, sound good?
So we were, this is actually Seth's project. I'm coming up to speed
Seth?
on it. Yes, he is on vacation.
Oh, good for him.
Well deserved. So this is a site plan. I'm just gonna show you the site plan really quickly. This is a site plan to put a new 5,000 square foot building in the rear of the West Hampton Glass property. And a couple of you were on the board when this was approved. It's a large special trade contractor use. It is an aquifer protection overlay district. So it does have to meet the 50%. In this case, they've asked to have a waiver of 5% vegetation with the purchase of a development credit. So someplace else it's going to be preserved. It makes sense. It's already a developed piece of property, right? Should be someplace else. It is used for a spray booth, right? The 5,000 square feet.
Actually, a small portion is a spray booth.
Oh, okay.
The spray booth itself is about 500 square feet. 5,000 will be used for assembly and for storage.
Also extension of your use of
Yes.
the special trade contract you use. Okay, so I know that there was a lot of questions about what to like the plant materials and things like that. That's been provided by the applicant in the form of a letter, and also the I think the data safety statements were also submitted. It's like that big, like the type of materials. But
Material.
that has been submitted. If you want, and I think Seth may have provided this to you before, but I just want to make sure you have it. So based upon that information, I'm prepared to do a negative declaration. We can go through it. If you have any questions. And if you do adopt a negative declaration, we would schedule a public hearing. No, excuse me. It's a site plan application. There was no public interest at the pre-submission stage, so we could waive the public hearing.
30-day written comment, yeah.
So, so the impact on land, I don't wanna, it's a big meeting. But basically, there's some typical ones that we have to do, like the silt fencing, slopes. But it's a small impact on lands. project. The impact on groundwater, I mentioned the clearing above the 50% by 5%, with the purchase of the credits, and also I think we need more credit for sanitary system, and they're also supporting that credits also. So that's explained under impact on groundwater.
Okay.
Is that too fast for you? There's a narrative that goes along.
Yeah,
with
the
it, too.
narrative is.
Okay, great. So there's a lot of information. Seth was very thorough. He put all that information they provided into here so we can have that as a double check. And then he's also been in touch with the fire marshal about any requirements with that. Impact on air quality is related to the spray booth, and that's all has an air filtration system in there. And then the impact on plants and animals has to do with the northern long-eared bat. The clearing has to be done within that window. So that is part of the requirement for the site plan. And then the impact on the critical environmental area, of course, it's Aquifer Protection Overlay District and Pine Barrens. It is compliant with the Pine Barrens clearing requirement, which is 60%. So these are compliant with that. And then those are the issues with that. And I think they've mitigated it.
Where's his narrative?
It is the first, it's the middle of this, after the resolution. It's the next part.
Every item has
It's on page 2.
page 1
I see. I got it.
Yeah. So that was my summary. And into that.
I think it's not 5% over, but it's 0.5%.
I see 5%.
On this, it says 0.5%.
Oh. Why did I reread that? Let me just see.
On this, it says 2.5%. This is on page 2.
Well, it's exceeded. Okay, log of site disturbance. Oh yeah, 1,081. So 0.5%. Oh.
0.5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, so 1,180 square feet.
Then that's one credit.
That is a portion of a
Portion
credit.
of a credit.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the resolution, I put it both in one, but if you want me to split them to one, exact and the completeness, it's up to you.
I think it's okay, Claire.
Okay, great.
Any questions? So we want a motion
for
to,
negative declaration?
for negative declaration for
And
completion.
Both in one motion?
Yes.
I'll move it.
Moved by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor.
We have a public
And
hearing?
we're going to
Waive
waive the
Oh,
public
that's right, we'll
hearing
waive it.
and a
Gotcha.
30-day written comment period.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to
Crowd, everyone left.
16.
That's a good sign.
I have 13.
13.
Atlantic Hotel.
Yeah, Aaron's probably out in the car.
Oh, Atlantic
Oh, you are.
Hotel.
Oh.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Liz Vale, Greenberg Charge, 1917 Montauk Highway, Bridgehampton. I'm just stepping in for Aaron, just because he has to leave. He said he understood this was gonna be deemed incomplete today, and
Yeah.
he asked for it to be on again for completeness on 11/14 if possible.
Well,
11/24.
he's gotta submit the information.
Okay.
Yeah, if he
If
submits.
he submits the information, that's what
Yes.
we're asking for, yeah.
Okay, so motion to deem this incomplete. Motion by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor.
Basically, we need the floor plans.
We
'cause
need
it's a
stuff.
It's non-conforming use. You'd have to submit us the floor plans and say, okay, they have 64 units that are this many square feet.
That's
They
right.
cannot exceed that. They've
Okay.
got to stay under that. So he knows that. It's in the checklist I provided him.
Thank you.
That's November
Okay,
14th.
so now we're moving on
No, it's
to
not.
No
No
date,
date.
no date certain.
the 16.
No.
If they submitted
You get on next
yesterday, they could be on.
Did we
Oh,
do
really?
Watermill?
So
Did we
should
set
I
those
say
Yeah.
hearings?
the 14th?
We did.
Okay,
What-
I'm here, okay.
We did that.
the wa-
Didn't
set
we?
that-
16 is
Watermill
the ZBA
Supply?
referral.
Yeah.
Because we were in work session. Claire, we set the hearing for Watermill?
January 11th, 2025.
Okay, got it.
The watermill?
Yep.
Yeah.
January 11th. Okay, J10 Inc. Is a ZBA referral.
Yes. So here's the history. J10 is the property, or one of the properties they own, is a residential parcel. Do you wanna provide
Sure.
them the new ones?
Yes. This is the new survey. But we had, yeah, seeking a pool and a front yard on a lot that's split zone, town residential, R40. And, it's got 2 front yards. Sorry, this is the new one. And the original application we submitted to ZBA had a much more narrow setback to the parking that was permitted to overflow from Edgewater, right? This these are parking spaces, and originally we submitted to ZBA this plan, which had a very much smaller setback. And ZBA said, well, we wanna know what the planning board has to say about this, because the setback is so
Narrow.
narrow. So we increased the setback to 10 feet, and then we're here for a ZBA referral on the matter. I think it was Anthony's idea to get your input.
That's still pretty tight. Boy, 10 feet from all those cars
Yes,
for a
but
proposed
But this is
pool.
an Edgewater parcel, right?
yes, it's owned by Edgewater. Anybody who lives there is going to be well aware of the situation.
Right, they're controlling interest.
Yes, they're the controlling party. And their variances for the overflow parking has been granted in different configurations over the years by ZBA, and the effort is always just to get parking off of Montauk Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And that is a goal.
certainly
So I
parking is a
think,
priority here.
yeah, and I think that the 10 feet would allow for vegetation, which is what Claire brought up, to ensure some privacy. And of course, they're gonna try and screen the pool from any of the parking.
Mm-hmm.
And from Montauk Highway and South Valley as well. So the ZBA wanted to know what you guys thought of this.
Variances because they have a pool in the front yard?
Correct. It's setback relief for front yard relief, and also because it's 2 front yards, so it's a pool in front yard.
Everything's C about in here, Liz, everything's C about here.
Yes, that's my understanding. And it's a residence. It's not.
Well, you have living space above the garage, you have the 2-story frame dwelling. I mean, it's
Yeah, you have to
associated.
submit your COs when you go to ZBA.
Yeah.
So, and they check that. So I imagine it's fine. We can double check, but
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, we'll just, that could be part of our report.
Sure.
So all
You know,
this is existing except the pool.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And we have been here before, if you recall, seeking to make this commercial with a bakery that was gonna operate
Yes.
out off hours, and you guys were
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's a lot.
Bit much.
Yeah.
And so this is a lot better. It's more in keeping with the residential use of the property. It's a typical accessory structure to all the residences in the town, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Want me to write something?
Mm-hmm.
Planning
So,
board.
I mean, this will be a pool to be used by,
Just the residents.
The residents.
Yeah, no, people aren't gonna go to dinner and then go to the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so on this
Yes.
parcel.
Right, right. It's accessory to the residents on this parcel.
Why are we seeing this?
You're seeing this because the setback was so small. I don't think the
Because it's an
ZBA
individual house, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first referral I got was this, to me, they were not doing the parking anymore. So, because there was a survey showing nothing
No
but parking.
no cars.
And they're like, no, we're still doing the parking. And I was like, oh, that's pretty close. So they showed it, and then Anthony was correctly saying, that's a little planning issue if you're 3 feet from a pool with your parking. So.
Okay, so now it's
Yeah,
10
and I think
feet.
the building code requires 5 or 6 feet between structures, if I recall. But the town
So
code,
now it's 10 feet.
10 feet, so it's
A
sufficient.
little bit better, and they'll put up screening.
For sure.
Well, we should say that we would recommend screening.
Okay, so
It's interesting. I
recommends-
mean, is this attached to something that they didn't center it, that it's so far over? Because they've got
It's the same thing on
40
the other side though too. Might have been I don't know.
It's 43
No, it's
feet on the
37.
other side, right?
No, no, on
No,
the,
32
across the
feet.
street, across the street, it's the same configuration. The house is pushed way back from the corner.
To your point,
Retaining wall.
so George, did you want me to say something about the overuse associated with the residential?
Well, that's the
Yeah.
law anyway.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
required.
I was just
let's put
asking.
it,
Yeah, that's required under the code.
well, let's conclude it, just for emphasis. Anything else?
There's a big deck there, they can have outdoor seating for the
No,
restaurant
that's
use.
not anticipated
That's
at
the
all.
thing, these
No.
things become.
They become
nightclubs.
other things, right?
No, if anything, they're scaling back from that. You know, they thought about expanding and now
No,
they're
that's
scaling
just
back and
pool
making it
equipment,
residential. So
Okay.
it will remain residential.
So I have three comments. That recommends the screening, the CO for all the existing structures and uses, and swimming pool should only be used for
The
association with the residents.
Residences.
Okay, I'll move you to adopt the report.
Motion by Dennis. Do the whole, you've got the whole day.
I know.
Second by George.
Somebody's
All
awake.
in favor?
Tom.
Okay,
Thank you, board members.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Liz.
Good to see
All right,
you.
stay well.
18, 19, 20 have been done, 21. been
Is
waiting for a long time.
Yes.
Okay, so
What are we doing with it?
Reducing
it's a
site.
bond
Oh,
release.
So you have,
Reduce it.
let's hear about the money. It was, the bond for the performance bond for the road was $12,689,987. This is a proposal because the work has been done to a certain point. I think it's being reduced to the 1/3, which is the minimum, which is $4,773,683.
So it's going into maintenance then?
No,
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 reducing.
it's
Just
saying
reduce.
they're
Oh, this is
still
still-
doing the performance work, but they've done so much that they can release that
Oh,
much
okay.
money.
2/3.
And then at some point we'll do maintenance. then.
Yes, exactly, and the obligation date is still June of 2025. They're going forward, but they just want some of their money back.
I don't blame 'em.
Sure. Okay, motion by Kate, second
second.
by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 5 in favor. Bud Hampton, Claire, you've had quite a day. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, thanks.
Thanks.
So the Bud Hampton one, I guess nobody's here for that.
Oh, that's the traffic report.
Right, so that was deemed
incomplete.
incomplete, this is Anthony's.
Okay,
That was deemed incomplete, they needed some additional information. They have since yesterday submitted it, but we need some time to double check that. In the meantime, the traffic study is submitted.
Yep.
And my question to the planning board is, you have the right to ask for a traffic
mm-hmm,
consultant to review. This is not outside secret, but our code allows that. So would you want a traffic consultant?
Tom?
Yeah, I've read it. I do have some questions, so I do think it would be best to hire a consultant.
You don't have to do it now, but I'm just getting there so I can get you the estimates, and then Anthony can do the estimates, and then you can choose somebody to go ahead and
Yeah.
review it.
Particularly because it's part of a complex parcel behind it,
Yeah.
you know, and there has to be some sense, I think, of
On the side.
connectivity from this parcel.
One, type 2.
It's got
But
to-
you, the code says you can have the traffic study,
Mhm.
which you asked for very clearly, and then our code allows us to hire consultants.
Yep.
Outside of secret.
I think we need to do that.
Yeah, the driveway will come out at the signal, which is gonna affect the operation of that signal, so there's things we need to
Yeah,
work
and
through.
I think, it's probably good in the end of the day, but you're getting an expert to double check you. I
Right.
think it's not bad, and let's both get it going, and the next meeting, we could probably hire somebody.
Mm-hmm,
So we're trying, you know, but
okay.
that's how, I just wanted to make sure you had that.
So what's
Any
our
action?
plan on this? Action?
No action.
No
So
action.
Anthony will
It's
come
still
back,
incomplete.
he'll come back, or you'll come back with estimates.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
Okay.
That's it, right?
Nope, just trying to.
One more.
6:30, narrow.
Didn't we
item
do those
23.
administrative site disturbance plans yet?
Okay, now,
Last but not least.
there gets a gold star today.
So patient.
Oh, then we have that walk on 74%? 74%, yes. And then Jackie signed.
I signed that.
Actually, it's another signature.
One more?
Yes, this is a date.
No problem.
And,
This is something different?
something different. This is the, they didn't do it this time. So
Okay,
we-
I'll
so
sign
we
it
don't
right
have any
in.
more of these when you go down.
An initial.
Yeah, they initial, but it is that special pen.
Yeah.
Do you have anything here?
Yeah. I'll be up by 5.
If you're in a rush, I
No,
can
it's
do it.
okay. Oh, you wanna initial it?
I
You're my
can do
guest.
it for you.
Dennis can
After-
initial
Can I
it,
do it
can he?
after the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jack has that.
I have to be out of here
It's
at
actually
5.
Jackie's signature.
Oh, it's
Oh.
my signature.
There you go.
I think
Okay. Okay, I'll do that while you do 6:30 now.
Okay.
Sorry, in your way.
I don't know, I'm waiting right now.
No rush. No good.
There's one little packet of it. This is for a clearing at 6:30 Narrow Lane in Sagaponack. It's where Topping and Sag Main kind of merge and right at the corner at the end of Narrow Lane.
Oh, yeah.
It's the lot just to the north of that intersection. The lot measures about approximately 38,000.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
course.
if I.
No, I just don't wanna be in your way.
It's 38,900 square feet. It's in the A pod. The allowable clearing is 50%, and they're about 5,000 square feet beyond what's allowed. It's mostly understory, but there are, I think this area was sort of cleared out, and what the applicant and the owner, they've created a revegetation plan that's in front of you to bring it back into conformance. There's a couple of gaps here in the landscape that have been there for a long time. There's one here, and they're proposing to fill that in, and they're abandoning this portion of their driveway because it's such an unsafe turn that they don't even use it.
Yeah.
So they're going to vegetate there, and the nice thing is that it'll connect all these 3 islands of natural vegetation. They're also proposing filling in this corner back here, so that'll attach onto the neighbors, and then putting back some of the understory here to bring it back up, and I think a little bit beyond, what's been,
What are they using? Elvish blueberries?
yeah, they, everything, for the application from not this past summer, but the summer before, and the previous planner had issued a planting list, so everything they're planting is on the checklist, and it's all native, trees, shrubs, and grasses, and it's pretty dense what they're proposing, the quantities. And, there's a list there, I think this is, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what the plantings are, do you wanna go through the list?
No. As long as someone's looked at them.
Well, I will say I live nearby, I go by there all the time,
Oh,
and
you
I'm
do? Yeah.
glad they're closing off that second
Okay,
access
yeah.
driveway.
Yeah.
But then, once upon a time, there was a driveway here,
Oh.
it disappeared a long time ago, but it's just strange how it sort of moved their conversation. But there, under a landscape plan, it's showing how they're just terminated and allow for a couple of parking spaces, and then this will all get closed off, so it's nice and dense here. Oh, they are adding a little bit to the island up top, and some more stuff here and here. And there's existing trees here
Yeah.
that weren't touched, there's just no understory there, so it's still heavily wooded, and it's got a great canopy. You're just sort of filling in where they've taken out when they built the terrace around the pool.
Right, they renovated the house recently,
Yeah, they renovated, everything was actually intact, it was when they did, the terrace around the pool, and maybe they enlarged the pool, I'm not sure actually. When they did the pool work on the terrace, before they started getting into more lawn, something on the edge. I do have pictures somewhere if you wanna see them. But these are all the areas, like you can see there's a hefty canopy, they're just filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, and has nothing, no bearing on this, but, I mean, what triggered this finding out that they were plan?
Oh,
Is
that's
it
a good
coming
question.
for
I
a
think they were
permit?
doing something in the
Building
building department, and now it's holding up C of O's.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
started the process in December of '23. They came back in the spring, but they, needed to redo their planting, and they asked them for an updated survey. So that took a little time. so now they're here, they actually want a prime plant now with the county to get it started.
Okay, so, our action then is to approve the,
To approve the plan, the, resolution has, it's the standard resolution for overseeing the, I should say standard conditions of, all the work completed and inspected for compliance with the CMO. They'll submit as-built surveys for final inspection, and, they have 1 year, from the date of the approval to do everything or it expires.
all right, do we have a motion? Motion by Kate, second by Tom, all in favor, aye, opposed, abstentions, 5. Bye, Jackie.
Jackie.
Bye, Jackie.
Stay well, be careful. And, did we have a walk-on?
Signature acknowledgement.
That's approved. Oh, 2 signature walk-ons, do you know what they are?
One was 74 Priscilla.
74 Priscilla,
Maple Residence.
which Maple?
Maple Residence.
Maple Residence, acknowledged for signature. Very good. Do we have a motion to adjourn by Tom? Second by George. We'll see you at 6.
Good.